All right, everybody, welcome to Portrayal, a stream where we look at Yu-Gi-Oh cards and we talk about them. I probably should have like a cute little intro that the internet likes, but since we've been doing this for like 3 years, technically what the stream has changed. So I would say once upon a time that we like look at Yu-Gi-Oh cards and laugh. But we don't really do that anymore. We just talk about stuff. And sometimes we don't even talk about Yu-Gi-Oh cards. But to preface this one a little, at the top of the stream, we're going to be talking about the Structure deck. Oh, I think it was just called Lair of Darkness. You'll have to forgive me, by the way. Wikipedia, which is my preferred source for this, not the fandom wiki, is a little slow today. Their poor beat-up servers. Yeah, it was just Lair of Darkness Structure deck. Which I can talk about because this is a very funny situation, actually, similar to the Parshath discussion we had a couple of weeks ago. We started with Light Fairies, then we did Dark Fairies, now we're on to Dark Fiends. I mentioned that a lot of the stuff that made Parshath / Counter Fairies an archetype, obviously Parshath himself is like a GOAT-era card, but a lot of those cards were originally in a structure deck in the OCG and were broken up into core sets in the TCG. Fun fact, same thing with Lair of Darkness. The structure deck we got in the TCG was a structure deck R in the OCG. It was a retrain of a fairly generic dark beatdown deck, but that contained a couple of things like the original Diabolos, Lich Lord, Mist Archfiend was originally from a structure deck, and a couple of other cards that kind of, like, made a dark beats with virus support deck thing. Obviously, until the card Lair of Darkness, the field spell, it was definitely not like an archetype, but they tried some stuff. So we'll be talking about that today.
Crush cards, Lair of Darkness is my favorite crush card deck. Or whatever the hell it is. Fucking
Virus.
Lair of Darkness is so silly.
It's a very goofy card, and so we'll have some fun to talk about it. But as we usually do on Fail Portrayal, we like to start with just whatever, catching up the yap on the Yu-Gi-Oh news. There's not a lot this week. No, card reveals or set spoilers. Other than Mimigools are coming to Master Duel. Holy shit, thank God. Just in time for them to announce the what they're posting in the OCG's World Premiere pack, where they reprint all the World Premiere cards from the TCG. So I see truly where Master Duel's bread is buttered. It's 100% for the OCG, I guess. Because they'll give cards that are printed, not printed in the TCG yet, but have been out in the OCG for like a month.
Well, there have been times where they've printed cards that aren't even in the OCG yet, like oh my god, what the hell was your name? The Fire Princess, the Link 3.
Promethean Princess, I think is the first.
Promethean Princess, yes.
Yeah. They that's true. They did do that. She was like a special little promo for Master Duel for like a couple of weeks before that set actually came out in the OCG. It's true, but yes, it seems like if you're trying to bet when cards will come out in Master Duel, bet on what will make OCG players the most comfortable, I would guess. Apparently. Because, God forbid, the OCG gets to practice Mimighoul weeks before it comes out. Anyway, that's not a big deal. Other than that's, I've already transitioned back to playing White Forest Azamina Fiendsmith. No, I'm not. I won't say I'm playing Snake Eyes because I am not actually playing Snake Eyes because the deck is 42 fucking cards because I have to play 2 Maxi, 3 Ash, 3 Fualos, 3 I can't put more cards in the deck because then I won't draw anything, chat. This is my new thing, but I'm sticking to it. I'm fucking mad about hand traps again. I've talked about it before. I'm in the bell curve. I'm mad about hand traps. I don't like having to play hand traps because I would like to play fucking Engine instead.
Look,
anyway.
just build a commander pod, decide what cards you don't like. Wait a second. Either way,
just play limited with your friends.
Yeah, just play limited with your friends and this decide on your pod's power level. That's just how it is sometimes. Look, some like playing online with randos is fun, but it's way easier for us to just do our deck build challenges, whatever the hell we want to do. We just fuck around in our cubes and we have fun doing dumb bullshit.
It's true. It's very true. But yes, I've gone back to playing a good deck to grind gems so I can make Mimighoul, which will probably not be a good deck, but will be very funny for me.
I'm so glad my friend is making her Yu-Gi-Oh debut. The joke is I have a VTuber friend, but I'm very excited to try to bully her into playing it.
As you do, with your friends. The other thing, though, actually, what the hell? I could be social media. Who is your friend? Shout it out. Go for it. I don't care.
They are the Sinful Shapeshifter with a Y in the sin part.
Okay.
You use a bunch of her emotes anyway.
They're also in the Pathfinder game that I play on Thursdays. Soon to be Friday, I think. But we'll figure that out when that happens.
Are you moving to Friday because stuff's changing?
Our old man is getting a job, and because of South African time zones, he works he plays our games until 3 a.m. So that doesn't work if he's getting a job that he has to work on Fridays.
You didn't know that's where he was. Okay, damn. Okay.
South African
time zones are crazy. Trust me. I not recently, but I mean, obviously, I have Loth too to consider. But his Australia time almost works out that he's just morning of the next day when we game on Sunday. I've coordinated for people in some time zones before, getting people on European time zones and multiple American time zones. It's tough.
Look, American time zones alone are a fuck with 3-hour time difference. Imagine hopping an ocean where it's all of a sudden 6 to 7 to even further than that time zone difference.
I'm used to my best friend who's in Germany, so he's it's like a 7 to 8 hour time difference depending on what daylight savings time's happening.
That's also the other thing about America that sucks ass is we do DST, nobody else does. So just your time is also just even if you do the conversion right, your time can just be wrong.
Even though we've been saying we'll get rid of daylight savings for 2 decades now, we just will not.
It's like
people were trying to get rid of it ever since it happened.
Well, yes, but for the past 20 years since we've been alive, you always hear
I think
legitimately,
legitimately, my entire adult life, I have heard that both the state of Florida and nationally we're going to end DST. Both sides of the aisle say that they are willing to do it, and every time we do the shift, they're like, this will be the last year, and then it just never goes through because politics sucks ass. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! The actual bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! News I want to bring up.
That's
yeah.
It sucks.
Just two diametrically opposed parties. But it's funny we talked about the difference between America and Europe because that is actually relevant to the thing going around. I think this mostly broke today yesterday, so I don't know if you guys have heard. But there's a new set coming to the TCG. One of the Battles of Legends. Except if you're in Europe, it's been delayed. So they posted a bunch of Konami did their usual pre-release thing, right? They sent a bunch of boxes to creators. And of course, this resulted in people cracking boxes and checking things out, and it was being widely reported over this weekend that this is a set, where they have so many Starlight Rares as options, that European boxes were getting 2 to 4 Starlight Rares when you're expected is maybe 1 a box, and there were some American box openers who were getting 0 Starlights.
Oh.
So obviously everybody immediately was like, printing error, sucks ass, what are you going to do? EU boxes win again, their aftermarket value is going to shoot up. So Konami has decided, no. They have delayed the European release of the product, which, by the way, some people are I do think that technically this is the worst decision for Konami for them to delay the product's official release date in the EU, which means they're not legal for EU play and stuff. And all that other thing, that does suck. And obviously, the ideal is that we would want the options to get more Starlights. But they're not doing this out of nowhere. If this release date is like 2 weeks away that they're delaying, that means this shit is like in warehouses, which means it's going to cost them a lot of money to like either rip these packs, reopen and like reshuffle them, or just reprint new product with the correct like ratios. I don't know what they're gonna do. It's gonna cost them a lot of money. Okay, so
yeah, I mean, like, are these like I don't want to say misprinted, but error boxes? Are they just gonna be tossed to the side? Like, what are they doing with them?
Yeah, I don't know. Genuinely, if Konami was smart, I'd say I would like recall all the boxes and like pass them out to distributors and be like, hey, wink wink, these are our misprinted boxes where the rarities are fucked up. If you want to rip these to sell singles or like hand them out as prizes, whatever, you can't sell them though.
I mean, it'd probably be the easiest way to get the product circulating, because otherwise you're just leaving a bunch of product that like best case scenario, you have people manually unpack so they can be repackaged, but that seems disgustingly
sounds so crazy.
Unintuitive.
Yeah. Like,
you would never do that.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do about it, but yeah, they have officially delayed the Battles of Legends set that was upcoming and are redistributing it. Before people realized that, there was also a second bit of controversy about it, which was that let's see, it's Monster Mayhem is what's going to be released. So this they're releasing with a special emblazoned ultra rare. So this is all the new Dragon Maid, Punk, and Orcust stuff.
Ooh, okay.
That's supposed to be coming out. So like the new Dragon Maids, the new couple of Punks, the new Orcusts. So like it is technically a possibly meta set that's being delayed. Like, I think everybody has said Punk, Orcust, and Dragon Maid, like, with these couple of new support cards and some reprints are, like, gonna be good. They're also reprinting a shitload of Primite stuff. The main thing that people were kind of surprised about was that we have full, set releases, right? No Kashtira's, no Bestials, no Mulcharmies, which I think they already confirmed, and no of the Chase Fiendsmith cards. So they do have reprints that are going to be important, but it definitely feels like, as usual, they are aiming for more of a, because like I said, they have Primite stuff in there. They're aiming for a little bit of a lower power level with these Battles of Legend sets. Me personally, I said it as a joke, but I still tweeted it. I was like, so Konami's telling you to stop playing Kashtira's and Bestials. Based. Like, I'm not sure exactly, like, what the TCG is doing by these reprints, but if I had to guess, I would assume that that is what is happening. Konami is like, okay, we can't really justify, like, limiting every Kashtira name and Bestial for much longer, but also, please stop fucking playing Kashtira and Bestial packages.
Please, for the love of God, just stop.
And, like, it makes sense, I think. Like, ever since they've been introduced, the Bestials are kind of a bogeyman if you're playing a dark or light deck where just, like, that just means that your opponent's going to be able to get free extension and also interrupt your plays because they're, like, 6, DD Crow names, right? If you're playing lights or darks exclusively, who also are, like, big dragon guys who do things. And some of it's because I play a decent amount of Master Duel, where the Kashtiras have just kind of, like, stuck around at 1 and 2 forever. I think you can even play fucking Arise Heart and Shangri-Ira still in Master Duel. Can't play DLS as a Mind Hacker. They banned that guy. But, Kashtira is a really weird thing where, like, yes, I don't think that, like, it's ban-worthy to, like, remove completely if you're just playing, like, just Fenrir or just Unicorn as, like, a little package. But also the way deck design is you can just jam a really tight loop of, like, as many Unicorns and Fenrirs as you're allowed and play some Birth. And then you can just get for free, basically, these, like, really annoying points of interaction to get rid of. Unicorn snipes a card from your extra face down. Fenrir is from board. Even Ogre, who is like the least strong Kashtira, like looks at the top 5 cards of your deck and rips one. They're all just like really annoying and frustrating to work with. And then also, at least this only happens in Master Duel because the deck is completely deboned in the TCG because they banned Arise Heart. But in like Master Duel, for instance, you can also just play a Kashtira strategy where you play all the Kashtira cards, so you can build this strong engine to get into level 7s. And this is a deck that's original end goal was to just lock you out of playing the game, like lock all your zones. And I'm just like, man, this is just a really annoying case of game design, and I kind of wish they would just get rid of them all. Like, I don't think the individual cards are that powerful. Like, I've seen some people kind of, like, push back against, like, because people will say, oh, Unicorn should be banned, and then people say, man, if you can't, if your deck can't handle interacting with one Unicorn, you're behind. You're no good. You got to be a better player than that. And I'm like, that can be true, and also Unicorn can be annoying as fuck.
I mean, yeah, it's the same. It's the same. It's just another variation of the argument of, oh well, Max C or what or so and so card is just a factor in every format. You should just build around it. I'm like, yes, but we can also acknowledge that Max C is a card that you have to include 10 cards in your deck roughly to build around, including Max C itself. It's not fun.
God, yes, no. I mean, Maxi's at 2 in Master Duel in the OCG now, so it's like 5 cards is minimum.
Still, regardless, it is the fact that you have to devote 40 cards, 5 cards, like
yeah, and usually more because you're playing like 1 or 2
10 to 20% of your deck to build to playing around Max C.
Yeah, no, it sucks.
Shit.
And to use a real example, like from the TCG, not to talk about like Master Duel stuff, because some people also get a little elitist about that. Oh, Master Duel fake format. But this happened in the TCG. It was called Mystic Mine. Mystic Mine was probably legal for like 6 to 12 months longer than it needed to be, and people did say, there's even a great meme about it. How are you not prepared for Mystic Mine?
How have you not prepared Mystic Mine? Says the player who would later lose the Mystic Mine.
Yeah, like it's. Yes, you can counterplay Mystic Mine. That doesn't mean that Mystic Mine wasn't a really fucking annoying card, and I'm glad they did kill it eventually. Probably why Konami killed it in the TCG was because they realized they were going to bring back AFD?
Not everyone's just...
What was that, X?
Not everyone's Jesse Con, so it's not like not everyone's ready for Mark.
It's true. But yeah, so like... like I said, if this is like Konami's subtle way of saying like, please build different decks, we can't justify like banning Kashtiras and Bestials this many years after they've came out, but we want you to stop playing them. Sure, whatever. But now, like I said, the set's been delayed in Europe, and the set where they may have been misprinted, have the wrong number of Starlight Rares, is going to go to market in America on time. Not great, but also kind of like one of those logistic things of like, well, what the fuck do you do? It's not like they can teleport the correct number of Starlight Rares into your booster packs that are sealed.
Yeah, like the biggest issue around this is like just, well, the misprints have already happened, and like they can't revert these boxes, so it'll just be interesting to see how any of that plays out.
Yeah. Otherwise, I think like meta's good. Alliance Insight just came out. I don't think there's anything crazy going on. No like crazy new spoilers exploding. I guess it was like a couple weeks ago, but the second Sky Striker episode came out. I think it was even shorter. I haven't watched it because I heard it was more short even. So cool. Still don't know what you're doing with that one, Konami.
Yeah, like announcing this as an anime and their minute, like obviously look, I understand animating a full episode of anime is an insane amount of budget and production value, but maybe don't announce it as an anime if they're going to end up being like minute long, if that shorts. I don't know, like personal opinion. Obviously, it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I double checked. At least the wiki says they consider it Yu-Gi-Oh! The card game, The Chronicles, the 9th Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. It does say it's supposed to be the short length one, but it still was like announced like a anime series, like a serial of episodes. So
yeah,
yes,
it's
the
the
short
case
format.
of
Like people were expecting like 10, 15-minute shorts, maybe.
Yeah, like it's always the problem of expectations depending on the wording of an announcement. Like a good example, take a look at every single like random Gainax announcement or Konami announcement that ended up a pinball machine.
Yeah, I know. Everybody was hurt by those because they're like watching those. You
Yeah,
see those
like,
cutscenes, and you're like, "That's cool," and you're like, "Oh, pachinko, pinball."
yeah, it was like pachinko. I want to say pinball machine, pachinko machine. Just there. It was going on for what like a good half decade where every single time a Konami announcement was a pachinko machine, and it just got to the point where everybody just gave up on any announcement for anything from Konami.
Yeah. Well, and that really, I don't want to say bit them in the ass, but like they did have to change their tune because they basically destroyed all of their non-pachinko machine goodwill.
Yeah,
like a shitload of their executives either fired or left, and they like had to start from scratch and rebuild their game studio. And I guess we'll see, Chad, how that works out in actually, is it September or October? Whenever Metal Gear Delta comes out, we'll see.
Delta comes out in a few months, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fall. I don't remember if it's late September or October. But yeah, it's coming out, so looks good. They're doing a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, look, aesthetically the game looks great. Haven't seen much gameplay, but the game looks great. So it'll just come down to
does it and they've talked a little about how the control scheme is supposed to be like a little improved but also still classic and stuff like that.
I don't mind also, those improvements because goddamn, like as someone who played MGS3, it did not feel bad to play, but it's just that PS2 grime to it.
It's very of its time.
Once in a while, yeah.
Like you play it now and you're like, okay, this is pretty okay, but there's a couple of weird. Hell, we have a playthrough of the re-release for the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection. Lucky played MGS3 on stream, so you can hear him have those moments of like, oop, the control scheme's a little weird. It's fighting me a little. So, it happens. So modernizing is great. That's something that, like, say what you will about the other game design parts. Metal Gear Solid 5 controlled like a dream.
Oh, yeah. Metal Gear Solid 5, I would almost say the gameplay, like, the gunplay was too good because it allowed you to always rely on combat as a secondary option, where stealth was always sort of like the primary deal, but that's neither here nor there. With MGS5, it's an amazing game that plays well, that I will always come back to every few years and just get lost in.
And also, like, I don't have a lot of critiques of Mr. Kojima. I'm a big fan of his games, his work after leaving Konami, and obviously Konami did fuck him over. But Konami has shown way more love to the original English cast of Metal Gear than I think Kojima has personally. Like, they've put David Hayter everywhere because, and I'll say it, I think I understand why. I don't agree with it, but I understand. Hideo Kojima is the kind of guy who likes to, like, handpick people he's interacted with and and he likes their work. So, of course, he's not necessarily going to be behind David Hayter, who was just the guy that Konami of America cast in Metal Gear Solid 1, even though in English we think of Hayter as synonymous with Snake because he has a brilliant performance that is absolutely worth it, but he, wasn't handpicked. So, Konami and Kojima Productions had tried to dodge him for years before they eventually managed it with Kiefer Sutherland. And I'm going to be honest, and I don't know how Hideo Kojima feels about it, but I would say to his face, Kiefer Sutherland was not the right pick.
Yeah,
probably because he cost you too much money, so he didn't have any fucking dialogue in the game.
I did not mind performance as Snake, but you can definitely. This is just we are in the vamp zone. We should finish this topic and then talk about Crush Card. That's on.
Yeah, I pulled up Crush Card Virus. Yeah, we're faffing. It's fine. We'll get into it. There's a smaller selection of cards, I should say.
Yeah, it was a situation like Metal Gear Solid 5. I talk about Game of Death to death. I always call it the best 7 out of 10 game of all time because you can't call it. I cannot rate it any higher than that because it's incomplete. It's not a full game. It's unfinished. But
yes,
all of the stuff that we have there, and even within the game, still you can very clearly hear some like audio tapes that are almost definitely supposed to be cutscenes because they have cutscene sound effects going on of like
yeah, they
like
have fucking
spatial audio of like
yes.
Yeah. A spatial audio to some of these audio tapes that I'm like, this was a scrap cutscene that they just have to have, and they just put it in because they needed it. It was critical.
Hey, chat, to end this up before we hit the 30-minute mark, I will once again recommend, I've done it before, but I'll do it again, check out Chip and Grant, Chip Cheese MLP of Metal Gear Solid 5. Chip is a freak. He is a absolute lunatic. He's great.
If you
want
to watch someone play Metal Gear Solid 5 3 times, watch them. They play it 3 times.
That's the way I always say. Like literally, Chip plays it 3 different ways, so you can see all the amazing different things you can do in 5, including the weird shit. Shout out to Vapor Snake. And just go absolutely over the top in terms of like the editing and the stitching together. And yes, like acknowledging the fact that like when you get to like the back third of the game, which is probably like the middle of the game originally, there are weird audio tapes that have spatial audio. There's shit that's absolutely cut. And like I said, Chip and Grant bring this up, but like Keith or Sutherland like almost never speaks in-game cutscenes. He's almost always in audio tapes. Why is that? Well, Kojima allegedly wanted to like facial capture everybody as they spoke. So like, I bet Keith or Sutherland didn't want to sit down for that. So
maybe maybe you should have just not done Keith or Sutherland. Might have like saved some major headaches there.
I mean, probably, but he wanted to.
I mean, sure, but he wanted the big actor, and also a big reveal that happens in that game for the people who have never played. I will not say.
Yeah, it's been a few years, but
it's
in case
a
you
Kojima
don't know,
game.
you gotta try it out. It's great. I fucking love 5. I can't wait for us to be able to get to that in our Metal Gear streaming retrospective. Just chat. Hey, expect me to make a lot of memes. It's been 9 years. Game's great. Anyway, some of you may be wondering because at the top it says Lair of Darkness. You're like, oh, Crush Card Virus? Yeah. So I talked about this a little before you got into Vesper, but the Lair of Darkness structure deck from like 2019, 2018 is technically a structure deck R. There was a dark structure deck in the OCG that we didn't get over here. They cannibalized it for core sets, which was a weird, like, dark beatdown deck that also meant that it synergized with virus cards. So I don't think Konami really originally intended... I mean, for sure they didn't with Crush Card, because that's a anime and manga card. But, like, they probably didn't originally intend for it to have this synergy, but it is the kind of thing that does loop into the future Lair of Darkness playstyle. So we have to start with the OG. Now, let me pull up the original card text. If you want to talk about cards that have been absolutely obliterated by errata.
For the people who have played, because this errata was about 10 years ago, I feel pain just saying that. For the people who have started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Since then and have not known Crush Card's original errata, this card ended the game. Even in like 2002, it ended the game.
Yes. So, I mean, which was the point. You know, it was played in a anime duel in a manga episode where the whole point was this was Kaiba's killer combo. You know.
Yeah.
So the original text is tribute one dark monster with 1,000 or less attack. Check all monsters on your opponent's side of the field, your opponent's hand, and all cards they draw until the end of your opponent's third turn after you activate it. Destroy all monsters with 1,500 or more attack. So just if your opponent has monsters with 1500 or higher attack in their feet on their board, in their hand, or drawing, pop them. Also, you get to look at your opponent's hand each draw to check for 3 turns. So we've talked before about like fading draw steps and stuff. Like that's super brutal because it could just end your draw. And also, your opponent has perfect information, right? They know what's in your hand and what you drew.
Perfect game knowledge. Also, especially at the time this card was printed, like a single card has an effect when it hits the graveyard from hand, which is like there's just nothing that really interacts with this card, and all you need is a goddamn like Battle Ox. And you win the game with Crush Card because your opponent just can't summon anything bigger than 1500.
Yeah.
Sure, you could set a wall, but they're gonna find a way to get over it and kill you. And as Marth said in the chat, this was a prize card. This was a card.
Yeah, so originally this card was printed in January of 2007 in the TCG as a Shonen Jump Championship prize. It stayed that way until 2008, where it was reprinted in a gold series.
Yeah, and for that 1 year, it was like a $500 card, probably more than that. Honestly, I'm just like ballparking. It was a multi-$100 card that you could only win by like topping an event. And what would happen is you would get these little pods of players, that would just pass the Crush Card around to the people going to the event, to have the upper hand to win more Crush Cards. So you have more copies of Crush Card to give to the pod to go to tournaments to win more Crush Cards. Do you see the problem?
And this card was so good that it's a really funny case. This card was so good that it was limited about a month after it came out. Like they posted a list that went into effect March 1st. This card was first, made legal to play in like January 27th. So they limited it, which is like, cool, okay, so it's a Saki one-of. But also means if you're winning a prize card, you only need the one to play yourself. So any extras you get are free.
And extras you get, go to your friends to win more, to give to your other friends. So you can just have you can just have an 8 stack going into a tournament, all with Crush Card in your deck.
And also, it's pretty telling that not immediately, but relatively recently after it was actually available wider, like in 08, they released it as a gold rare and gold series. It was in a turbo pack in like 09. Yeah, it gets banned in 09 and stays that way until 2015, which I believe is, as you said, when you get the errata, yeah.
And it sucks.
So here's the errata version. Tribute 1 dark monster with 1,000 or less attack. Good.
The errata was playable for like a week, and everyone realized, oh, this card is unplayable. Like this card is not good.
Yes, this is a case of like they definitely way overtuned this errata. This is way too far. So tribute 1 dark monster with 1,000 or less. Your opponent takes no damage until the end of the next turn after this card resolves. Also, you look at your opponent's hand and monsters they control. If you do, destroy the monsters among them, Amogus, with 1,500 or more attack. Then your opponent can destroy up to 3 monsters with 1,500 or more attack in their deck. Your opponent can. So no longer checks drawn cards. Does still let you look at your opponent's hand and board, but they are damage proof for until the end of the next turn. So even if you activate it on their turn, you can't OTK for game. And then they get to destroy 3 monsters from their deck. It is now the year 2015, chat. Do you think there may be any problems with letting your opponent choose to destroy up to 3 cards from their own deck?
Oh no, you've Crush Carded my Fire King deck? Whatever will I do?
Fire Kings, dinosaurs, all kinds of shit.
God forbid you're that one insane person who takes Karuya in your deck because everyone's still trying to play Crush Card, so you just go, pop Karuya?
Never mind. Also, just even if they don't they don't plus directly off being destroyed.
They're still putting 3 resources in their graveyard.
Yeah, it's foolish for 3 if they have 1,500 or more attack. And it's the thing of, like, they've definitely, like, way too far neutered this card. It's sad. I wonder if they may ever, like, come up with a different version of this errata. Like, they should probably just drop your opponent takes no damage effect, and this would still be an awful card.
I want to say that, like, we have so many other various deck viruses at this point.
Yeah,
that
there's about 6.
I think we're fine giving Crush Card just dead and buried. Sure, the errata makes it unplayable and it's not fun, but also, do we want the original Crush Card back either? Like sure,
it is kind of an iconic anime card.
Like, there's an in-between we can certainly find, I'm sure, but I think it's better to just leave in the past, just in case we accidentally re-errata it and we break it again. I would rather just avoid.
Well, what they should just do is what they've done with a bunch of other. Well, not a bunch, but they've done it like twice. Like, they made the like special, spell card Soul Exchange, spell card Monster Reborn. Like, they should just retrain Crush Card Virus as a new card, and you can call it Trap Card Crush Card Virus, so that it can like have a better effect while still obviously being counterbalanced for the existing game. It would be interesting. But as it is, the original Crush card is turbo bad.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh, Dallas has showed
Holy shit. Is that a Dallas?
I did ask Dallas if he could make Tuesdays.
Dallas, you're silent.
He's working it out. He hasn't failed Portrayal in a long time. Dallas is on the Discord call, but he's still... There he is. Now he's muted. Now he's unmuted.
Oh. Are we having issues with our Discord audio settings? I know I do all the time.
It happens. I assume that Dallas would know, because I said that it would probably be a couple of weeks. And also, there's an announcement in the channel that it's not FF. But I did say if he was free to show up to more of these. While Dallas figures that out... Whoop, hold on.
All right,
something?
Okay, I'm here. Hi.
We have Dallas in the flesh.
Hell.
I think it's been like a year.
You're completely correct. No, I'm pretty sure I was on here randomly like 8 months ago.
Okay, less than
That's how it goes.
At least a calendar year.
Yeah. Sorry. No, Vesper was completely correct. Discord reset my audio
Look, it
settings.
happens. Sometimes you plug in a headset and decides, oh, you want the headset to be your mic output? Okay, I got it, buddy. Oh, that controller you plugged in? You wanted that to be your mic, right?
Oh, God. Yes, the controller is your mic.
I hear what you.
But I'm assuming we're doing Lair of Darkness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
is great, because I love this deck.
We talked about one card so far.
Yeah, we fucked around for 30 minutes, so we've talked about Crush Cards and Virus. Yep. Yes, exactly, yes. Lamenting how terrible the errata is.
Yeah. It's an errata that should be reversed. Like, I don't know if Yu-Gi-Oh! Does that. Magic doesn't do it very often. I think they've done it, like, twice.
I don't think that they've never outright reversed an errata.
They've never outright reversed an errata. There have been a couple of cases where they have, like, I think both Raikou and Necro Valley, for instance, they've gone, like, back and forth.
Yeah. Necro Valley's been errata, like, 8 times.
And Raikou actually, like, they've literally waffled on whether or not Raikou, the Lightsword Hunter, should target.
Yeah, they can't decide what they want Raikou and Necro Valley to do, and every time it gets reprinted in the constructor deck, it just gets a little different, and everyone just gets Mandela affected every few years.
Here's the interesting question, though: if Crush Card was re-errated, would it be playable? Because I still don't think so.
I think it's playable purely for the hand knowledge.
That's fair. Well, because here's the thing, and Omega just brought up the card. I think this card would still be better.
Deck dev? Probably.
Yeah. There's 2 viruses that I think are good, and this is one of them.
It's deck dev and Eradicator Epidemic, right? Those
I love Eradicator. It's so funny.
Trust me, I know. Eradicator, good. Because I played Labyrinth once upon a time. And for some reason, they let you play 1 or 2 of it in Master Duel for a long time. I think it's still 1, but even that's crazy good. Labyrinth and several other decks have this thing where they're like, oh, if a normal trap causes a monster to leave the field. So that includes tributing your own giant dark monsters.
Eradicator and Deck Dev are both like, and obviously Crush Cards pre-errata. I think it's fair to call them sideboard staples. I don't think most decks would main deck them, other than Labyrinth, of course, for
Crush Card, I think, because of its weird thing, we talked about how it was like a prize card for like a year originally.
That's true.
That was probably a card you would build around. But yes, virus cards are usually like side deck options, or like you're already on some kind of trap-specific strategy, and then you're just like, okay, I've got room for like 10 one-ofs in my 10 one-of trap cards that end the game. What do we play? Durma Karma Cannon, D-Barrier, Eradicator, Deck Dev, etc., etc. Like when you're playing trap decks, you just block out some space and are like, fuck it.
I played Eradicator, Epidemic Virus, and Deck Devastation Virus in decks I really shouldn't have.
Oh, Dallas, how I missed
they're
having
just
you on
so
Portrayal.
funny. Like, I played them in Agnister. Because first of all, that deck, you have like 8 million flex spots. But also, all of your Cyberse links are dark.
True.
Yeah. So if you see your opponent is like on Sky Striker or something, you could just go and flip Eradicator, Epidemic Virus, Cull Spell, and yep, they scoop.
So, by the way, we didn't really talk about the original art for Crush Card, but we might as well mention it with Deck Dev.
It's iconic. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
they're just like weird little artistic depictions of viruses. The original deck, Crush Card, I should say, had the kanji for death on it. Deck Dev
this
has
for
demon.
Disease? Oh, demon. Okay.
Because its original name in Japanese is Ma no Dekai Hakai Usuru, Deck Destruction Virus of the Devil.
Yeah, and Crush Card is Deck Destruction Virus of Death. So I'm going to assume the virus cards just have that naming scheme in Japanese that they just decided to not bring over because, it makes sense.
I mean, I get it. They're a bit extra. They're cool though.
Weird.
Like,
yeah.
They match the. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna read the effect of Deck Dev. Go ahead.
I was like, they match the. I feel like the edginess and silliness matches the energy of the cards.
Yeah. So Deck Dev is basically. This was the first new one they printed. This was just in packs in Flaming Eternity. So, like, technically, this was accessible in the TCG earlier than the original Crush Card. Crush Card was a card like Ultimate Dragon that it just took them for fucking ever to figure out where to port it over. But they brought this over as just like a super and a core set. Its effect is basically the reverse of Crush Card Virus. Tribute a dark monster with 2,000 or more attack, so higher attack. Look at your opponent's hand, all monsters they control, all cards they draw until the end of their third turn. After this card resolves, destroy all these monsters with 1,500 or less attack. So this only blows up weenies, and it says a lot about Yu-Gi-Oh! That this card is unerrataed and was never forbidden. It was limited for like a year after it came out, but went unlimited by the year 2007 and has never gone back. Dallas, I think you're very right calling this a side deck staple, especially because there are some decks that if your opponent runs Deck Dev, you're out. If you're playing a little weenies deck, like a deck that's made of a lot of low attack monsters necessary for your combos, you're just cooked.
Guys.
Yeah, I mean, like, Crush Card in its original timing just sort of stopped the gameplay because 1500 was still like a general. It was a pretty general like stat benchmark that most cards you're playing are getting around unless they're your Raikos or you're just random little like tutor guys.
Well, and
But
we should also say that, like, I don't know if
Yeah.
it was, like, truly intended this way, but, you know, with 3K being kind of the benchmark thanks to Blue Eyes, 15 is exactly the midpoint.
Well,
So-
it's kind of
Probably just kind of was like a good benchmark to split the difference. Yeah, with 3K
Well,
being like the gap.
fun fact. The card was originally because I actually been rewatching some of the anime recently, because it's great background noise. It was originally used to destroy dark magicians. Because it's fucking Kaiba's card.
And
I'm
of
trying to
course,
find it in
Kaiba's
the-
the guy who just would, you know, do a deck virus. I think he tried the same thing against a Shizu as well. Went for like virus cannon and shit, spell canceller type bullshit to just be like,
Dude,
all right,
Kaiba
put your deck
is
in the
like,
graveyard.
so not only is he the best part of the original anime, I don't think there's a debate about that because he's just a giant dickhead.
Yeah. Right before you get off, I just remembered one other thing about like Duelist Kingdom Yu-Gi-Oh! That made Crush Card super broken. A rule that never gets touched on in the dub. If cards are destroyed by effect, you take a quarter of their attack points as damage, and Crush Card destroys them by effect.
Kingdom is a fever dream, and I love it and I hate it.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a fever dream. Like the
The
all
dub
of the
script
rules
just
are
whiffed
well
it.
explained, just not in the dub.
Yeah, like
No,
it's a
100%.
very short sequence, but yes, Pegasus literally explains it's either on the cursed VHS tape or it's when he's like on the balcony addressing everybody,
He
like,
explains on
"Hey,
the
I've got
balcony
some special
because
rules for
Alex-
you."
Yeah.
right. It's after they're already invited and they've been battle royaled and they can't leave. He's like, "All right, cool, kids, great, special rules for you. You know, monsters. You know, that's the stuff like you can't attack with a fusion the turn it's summoned."
Yeah, the only thing it does not explain is the field power bonus, which is the advantage Weevil gets got for winning the tournament.
Yeah, Weevil got to know all of the rules ahead of time, and especially the secret one, which I'm pretty sure in the original text, Pegasus even says, and also special rules I'm not going to tell you. Pegasus is a great presenter. Like, it's... I know it's because I'm pretty sure in the manga he's just straight up fucking dead. But, like, I really wish we'd brought him back more as a character, because Pegasus is like a lunatic event host, and it's great. Like, he knows how to throw an event.
No, like I obviously prefer the dub in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because as much as people belay 4Kids, rightly for a lot of censorship stuff, I feel like 4Kids has this weird dub philosophy of, as long as you're not inappropriate, you can just do whatever the hell you want. Like, just say whatever.
I do think that the English dub cast, like, brings an energy to the presentation that, like...
If you are late, you will be disqualified. Mokuma, make sure Wheeler is late.
Yes.
That's a real line. That's not an abridged line.
Hey
Like,
guys,
they bring so much to it.
What's up?
do you guys want to feel old?
What up?
Eh.
You can't
Guess
hurt me
how
anymore.
old Pegasus is in the anime. Let's
Oh, I
that's
know
like
this.
20,
He's like
he's
25.
26.
I thought he'd be like
Yeah.
32.
No,
you would
it's,
think-
it's
you would
anime
think.
logic.
He's 24.
God, fuck.
Isn't Kaiba
Wait,
technically
But he
older
was-
than
But he
Pegasus?
was married for 10
No,
years
no,
in like
no.
Egypt and shit with like
I thought
archaeology.
Kaiba was older than.
No, Kaiba's a high schooler.
He's the same age as everybody else.
Right, he's in high school. I
Yeah.
keep forgetting that.
They just
He's-
stopped being high school.
It's
at
just
that point.
in a great progression of real life. Kaiba's rich, so he doesn't actually have to go to school.
Right.
He does show up though wearing his fucking uniform though in the early episodes. So like he sometimes
Because his
chooses to show up
uniform
to
is
school.
Cool.
There's a character whose age I need to look up because this is gonna make me laugh.
This is Eradicator, correct?
Yeah. So this is Eradicator
Yes, this
Epidemic
is
Virus,
Eradicator Epidemic.
Deck Destruction Virus of Darkness. So that's what the character means. Also,
Yeah, that's
art
darkness.
way better.
Honestly, one of the best arts in Yu-Gi-Oh, in my opinion. Like, not even joking. It's just
Literally become a skull.
like, well, it's not just skulls. It's like skulls mutating into virus tendrils. It's so good.
Yeah, it's like
and
an actual
unfortunately,
virus.
this is a card that's its original printing It was eventually in Gates of the Underworld and a couple of other structure decks at a common print, but its original print in Force of the Breaker was secret only, so this is one of those cards you can't fucking see shit. But they did do common prints and the
special edition, which very few people, like, back then very few people got special editions. They weren't really around.
But as usual, the Master Duel print, clean. This is a card I am intimately familiar with, because like I said, you played the shit out of this in Labyrinth. And it was a card that was for a while in Master Duel limited. It is now back to being unlimited. Konami?
Yep. Keep it unlimited. Because, spoiler, you do play this in Labyrinth, but you also play it against Labyrinth. Because you Epidemic Eradicator virus called Trap, they just die.
Well, and so that's the funny thing. We've talked before about miserable mirrors. You want to talk about the worst fucking mirror in the world? I think Labyrinth is like the new equivalent to like Dark World. Obviously, Dark World has modern support. Those mirrors are also bad.
Cyber Dragon. I do still think the worst is Cyber Dragon.
Cyber Dragon's another one of those that's just like,
because of just Chimera Tech, you just go, oh well, your entire board's mine now.
Yeah, you just look at your opponent. And you're still playing Chimera Tech is the funny thing, because now, like, the new Cyber Dragon trick is to, like, make the link called Clockwork Knight with a K to search Clockwork Knight with an N to make all your opponent's monsters machines. So, yeah, it sucks. But, having played Lab when it was meta in Master Duel, Lab mirrors suck ass, because Eradicator's a normal trap, so you can just search it. So whoever gets to Eradicator first wins.
Yep.
Painful as hell. Yeah, there actually are a couple of virus cards that were in the anime only, and I think they should bring over, because one is just sack a dark monster, I think with like 1500 attack or less or something, and it's like all link monsters' attack becomes 0 and their effects are negated. If your opponent summons a link monster, its attack becomes 0 and this card's in the graveyard, it should say. Its attack becomes 0 and its effect is negated for up to 3 turns after we put it in the graveyard. And I'm just like, where's that kind of, like, focused link hate? That would be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, Eradicator. So Eradicator's another normal trap. It says tribute a dark monster with 25 or more attack, so getting bigger. Declare one type of card, spell, or trap. Look at your opponent's hands, all spell traps they control, and all cards they draw until the 3rd turn after this card's activated. Destroy all cards of that declared type. Note that this card is not a once per turn, and it is not mutually exclusive, so you can stack them together to basically have called both spell and trap, and so it's wrecked. This one was limited for a little bit in real life, from 2013 to 2019, then it got unlimited again in 2019. It's another card that's like situational enough that it's not perfect to use. It requires quite large dark monsters. Like, one of the reasons why Lab works with it is because, as I said before, tributing is removing via a normal trap effect, so you get your cards back, basically.
So I have a hot take. I don't know if this is a hot take, but it's a take I have on Yu-Gi-Oh! Design. I think they should print a hell of a lot more virus cards and basically use them to replace floodgates. Like, keep the same effects as the floodgates, like skill drain, goes and match, rivalry,
I am looking
limit them to 3 turns, single activation.
I am looking through a lot of, like, the virus cards, and we do have, this is a fake card. Of course it is. I was looking at this last machine acid virus. It's only in fucking Tag Force.
Yeah.
GX
no, that card's
Tag
bad
Force
because that's like tribute a water, destroy all machines your opponent has in their deck in hand. It's like System Down, but stupider.
Yes.
But yeah, no, like,
I love the card art of just a bunch of slugs just melting a tank, though.
No, honestly, like,
yeah,
like Eradicator is a card that is, it is a lingering effect, but it's not permanent because you only destroy cards they draw. So, like, if they just search a spell with a monster effect, they still get to keep it, Like, it doesn't stop you from activating spells or traps.
I think a better way to design floodgates for Yu-Gi-Oh! And for card games in general, to me, is have a lingering effect on, like, if you want to have Rivalry, Tikbu, Gozen in the game, have it be a lingering effect for 3 turns, so games just don't turn into giant slogfests. Because I feel like you need those effects in the game so that games don't just end instantly, but they need to be not permanent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And, like, obviously, if you play, like, back row hate, you know, if you flip Eradicator, for instance, you can get rid of, like, continuous trap floodgates, but some people don't play back row hate. Eradicator, I was going to say, is a card that, like, has been unlimited because it is so situational, because, obviously, around 2019, you know, peak Link format and moving into Master Rule 5, that was the peak era of, like, oh, spell effects, trap effects don't matter. They don't do anything. All monsters, baby. And obviously, as we've learned, that's not exactly true. It wasn't even true at the time. People said it, but you were still playing shit like Lightning Storm when it came out. Forbidden Droplet was a spell card that was a super chase, you know, all the pots and stuff. Like, there were still very powerful cards, but it was true that, like, design focus shifted away. But there are still some decks that are, like, super focused on spells and traps. Ironically, I think I was about to say, you know, I don't know if it works like that. I'm not actually sure if this would stop, like, White Forest as a Mina, because, yes, they do like to have their spells and traps in their hand to pitch them, but also, I think that you would, if they're in their hand, that would mean that they get to come back anyway, because they've been sent to the graveyard?
Yeah, I don't think it would outright stop them. It would be a road bump.
It would basically, like, reduce their resource level because they can only do that set themselves effect once per turn. So, like, there are decks that play spell traps that get around it, but like we said, when Labyrinth was cool, and you know you were setting 5 passing, Eradicator was very powerful, both on the play, but also on the reverse. And it's good on the play because you can flip Eradicator in your opponent's draw phase or standby phase and be like, hey, buddy, you got a Feather Duster back there? Not no more, you don't. Get that shit out of here.
Yeah, and I think it's still really good against certain decks. Like, I use it still it's one of my main deck cards in the deck I play in Master Duel. Because for some reason I love dark decks, and DDD just, Blue Eyes really doesn't like it when they can't activate spell cards.
I mean, hey,
also true, actually.
The goal of every Master deck, the goal of every Master Duel deck should be to stop Blue Eyes and Dark Magician. So I support that.
100%.
Well, God fucking knows there's enough of them, since they printed all the new Blue Eyes shit, and Dark Magician is a structure deck, and there's gonna be more when they do it again because they've got more Dark Magician support coming.
I wish I ran into more Dark Magician. DDD just dumpsters that goddamn deck.
It was really, you probably missed it because you weren't playing Dallas. Dark Magician was fucking everywhere for a while because they released it as a structure deck that had like the new Master of Chaos and like Illusion of Chaos in it. So like it was a relatively cheap strategy. You just buy 3 copies, and it was everywhere for a while. That died down because the Bat Chest deck became Golden Sarcophagus, and then they released Blue Eyes and Primite, which is actually a good nostalgia deck. I said it. And now that's the nostalgia deck du jour that everybody plays is Blue Eyes. Yeah. I won't say people play Millennium as a nostalgia deck. People play Millennium as like a weird like 4th or 5th engine, which is like turbo annoying.
Millennium. It's so dumb.
I don't mind Millennium as a deck. I fucking hate Ankh into Big Dickless Exodia. That guy's just so free and annoying.
That's fair.
But as a concept, I do love that because Master Duel doesn't have time rules, people play it because, like, in real Yu-Gi-Oh!, you can't pay, like, 2K or 4K and just sit, because if it goes to time, you lose. But, like, in Master Duel, it's best of 1 already, so you're just like, last life, the only life point that matters is the last life point, baby. So you get to be funny. So we're gonna leave viruses and talk about this dark deck.
There's one more virus that we should talk about because I think it's relevant.
Well, there are more viruses, but they don't come out for a while.
Oh right, that didn't come out for. Sorry, there's one more I've used.
There's like 2 or 3 more. I can't remember.
There's 2 more, but one of them is bad.
But here's the thing, and this will be the 3rd time I'm mentioning it because Dallas joined us late as well. So in the TCG, we got a structure deck called Lair of Darkness. Like I said, I think it was 2019. In the OCG, that was a retrain of just a generic dark beater deck that came out in the OCG that I think correctly the TCG was just like, nah, we'll just put that shit in boosters. Which the cover card of that was this card, the original Diabolos. Diabolos, the King of the Abyss, or Demon King Diabolos in the OCG.
I didn't even know Diabolos was a retrain.
It is. Now, Vesper,
I wasn't told the history of it.
I'm going to read you the first line of this card's effect text, and you'll understand why you don't remember this guy exists.
I can't believe you don't remember.
Yes, it cannot be special summoned.
Yippee.
I can't believe you don't remember Diabolons. If people have been here for a while, I actually summoned this in our progression series.
It may have been an episode that I wasn't there for.
It was during the GX years. I know that's all just a fucking... Or was it the 5Ds years? It was one of those two.
If it was 5Ds, I definitely wasn't there. The only thing I remember from the GX era is Mystic Shine Ball Turbo, baby.
Let's see. No, this would have been GX, because the cassette it came out was Crystal Beasts and Volcanics.
Oh.
It was Force of the Breaker.
Yeah, no, it was the GX era. God, that era
honestly,
is so
all of GX for us is like, I feel like it's a blur of just me constantly trying to run hero and dying, and then...
And me like, constantly just like, no, guys, I got this new strategy. It's gonna work. I promise.
Every week, Dallas brings a new strategy. I'm playing Chess Archfiends this week. Never mind. No, I'm not. That sucks.
No. That was DM. That was DM, and that was the most humiliating loss ever.
I think there were several times you said you had improved that deck, like, off-screen, but every time you were like, nah, I'm not taking that deck to Prague this week. Because it was awful.
I say that I think I mentioned this before. I say this with all love to you, Marth. My most humiliating loss will always be losing to Crash Bugs playing Infernoid because I just bricked my reasoning mills.
You know my most humiliating loss because I remember you just mentioned it.
Mystic Shine Ball.
Somehow you defeated Dallas with Mystic Shine Ball.
Oh.
I just remember. I just remember when Dallas and I did a Lightsworn duel, and I just lost because his deck he had 0 cards.
He was 50. He had like
Zodia. I killed Axe in like a turn because I drew literally like, what was it? I drew.
I mean, you build 30 cards of your deck in one turn.
Yeah, it was like, you die.
Yeah, late GX was interesting because we started to get like Glad Beast and Lightsworn and like real decks. Much offense meant to early GX Hero, Sidra, and actually no, Sidra was also a problem, but that's because we were playing Future.
Early GX is fine in its own vacuum, but unfortunately, they did the magic thing without doing the magic thing, where they tried to bring the power level of Yu-Gi-Oh down, and they just left all of the old cards in there.
Yeah, I still don't think it's like on the docket maybe for this year because I don't know if we have enough people and what the schedules are like. But I would eventually like to organize a Prague 2 and like
I would love to
put it in booster seasons. I don't think we'll go full rotation, but like absolutely there would need to be checkpoints.
I have some ideas.
Okay, we're leaving the DM era. We gotta put some stuff on the back burner. You gotta stop playing Chaos.
And I do think we should take the card bank out because I think that caused a lot of problems.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like the number one thing I realized.
I feel like the dual thing is we have to have a committee where we decide on what cards are.
Well, no, I think there's one card that I do think should be in the card bank because genuinely it screws up like everything because there's polymerization. Spoiler.
I mean, okay. Well.
Yeah, I think everybody should just start with 3 poly. No, like my alternative plan currently, I think for the card bank is some kind of like points-based exchange for winners. Like every match you win, you get so many points, which you can then turn into like promo or structure deck cards. You know, like at a ratio.
And I think generic cards should be still off that list.
Yeah,
like no MST, no.
Yeah. Like cards that are like mainly for archetype cards that are exclusively printed as like we said, like video game promos or jump promos. Because like it's one of those things of like, well, how would you get access to Elemental Hero Stratos? And it's like, well, you don't, but also
That's
guaranteeing 3 Stratos is rough, you know? Like, and God knows what was the. It wasn't D-Barrier. Was it Negate Attack? There were a couple of, like, battle traps that were, like, video game promos,
like
so everybody just
Attack.
loaded up on 3, and it was insufferable.
No, it was Dimensional Prison, I believe, was one.
D-Prison, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think Prison was, like, a structure deck card first.
Yeah.
So it was in the bank, and it sucked.
Also, I'm reading Diabolos. This card is ass.
Yeah, no, this
it's
card's bad.
awful.
This card's awful.
It's so bad. Like, Diabolos
like,
Lord
there's
of
a
the
reason
Lair.
why. There's the reason why
Or not
this
Lord
deck.
of the Lair, is it Lord of the Lair?
King of the Abyss.
Oh, King of the Abyss. Yeah.
Yeah, Lord of the Lair is the new one. No, King of the Abyss is an
Probably
awful
attributed
card.
by
I
effect.
feel like that's why they didn't bring this structure deck over, because its like signature monster was ass. First of all, despite being called Mao, he's a dragon. This is a dark dragon, level 7 with 2,800 attack, so he's a shittier dad. Can't be specialed. If you tribute summon, must be dark. Cannot be tributed by card effects while face up on the field, so you can't even use it for virus cards. Once returned during your opponent's draw phase, before their normal draw, look at the top card and either place it on the top or bottom.
I do have a fun, red, horrible fact about this card. So this card was played in tournaments. Do you want to know why?
I do. I do want to know
It's
why.
the worst reason ever. I'll give you that hint.
Sure. Crack away.
I'm just curious now. Why was this card played?
So, because it is a similar effect to Drop Off, if your opponent did not respect the effect during the draw phase, you can call a judge over and give them a game loss.
It's a shark card. Yes, of course. Yeah, 'cause it's during your opponent's draw phase. Before their draw, you look at their card.
Yup.
So if your opponent goes
If
draw
your opponent
phase and
drops
picks up
before
the
you
card,
have a chance to activate the effect, you can cause a game loss.
because yeah,
Because of
game
course you
state.
can.
God.
I hate
No,
it. I hate it
this
so
card
much.
is awful. I'm so glad it got a retrain
It's
and
a
is
bad
never
card,
good. This
but
card
people
sucks
played
ass.
it because you could shark people with it.
So it's an awful card. Like it literally has a nombo with the rest of the deck. Like it has to be all darks. It's bad. It's a bad card.
No.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, I guess the funniest thing you can do is tribute set this guy, and technically you contribute him for a virus card then because he's not face up. Because it's just face up on the field.
Yeah.
Just Book of Moon this guy and then tribute him for deck dev.
It's bad. It's very bad. It's like I said. This honestly, this structure deck was bad. Like its whole plan was like Dark Beaters was all the iconic cards, and it's just weird. Not that Dark wasn't like living it up in the mid to late GX era, but this wasn't it. That said, we do got some funny guys. Some of you may remember this guy's card art. This is Lich Lord, King of the Underworld, Death King Lich Lord, Shio Richirodo, who was first printed in that structure deck.
I would say also his art is bad. I just want to say before we.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about
Diabolos.
Diabolos. He's just a dragon.
I think his art is so much worse in this version than his retrain.
He's just a dragon. Whereas Lich Lord is
He looks
actually
like the main character's dragon reject design. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this was supposed to be like a 5D's main character's dragon, but they were like, nah, this is too lame.
He's just very generic. But the Lich Lord, when everything finally catches up, had a little slowdown there, getting all this stuff. It's another add-on. I also want to say this is another thing that's kind of funny about this. Like I mentioned, despite being called the Demon King, Diabolos is a dragon. Lich Lord, when he actually appears, will be a zombie. Like, they weren't really being specific about this. Whatchamacallit? These types, right?
God, this card is also not great.
No.
And oh god, this is a secret rare in Force of the Breaker.
Yeah, no. Like I said, this because it's like original printing in the OCG was like well, multiple rarities, but I think it was probably as low as like super in like a structure deck, you know? Maybe even a bit of common in the deck. His art looks better though. At least he's a cool guy.
Oh no, the art is really good, I think.
Yeah, like this is like that's an actual that's a fucking lit.
Yeah, he's got a cool like red cloak. He's got dark demony wings. He's got a stick. He's going to cast power word kill.
I do like
But I have 201 HP.
these like nails or something, like pipes sticking out of his robe.
Yeah, I think they're supposed to be nails.
They're
Or,
something
like,
holding his robe together, but it's a little weird.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It's part of the mystique.
It's very like, honestly, this reminds me more of Magic art or very old Yu-Gi-Oh art than Yu-Gi-Oh art.
Well, he is from like GX timing, right? So that kind of adds up.
Yeah,
He's
no,
just
I guess it makes sense. I guess it's just because of how cartoony Diabolos looked. This looks like very different in.
Diabolos
same
looked
way.
like something Kazuki Takahashi like scribbled on a napkin when Konami was like, "Kaz, need a new card." He's just like, "Okay,
We
here,
need a
dragon.
dark
Start."
dragon that is evil.
And he does look fairly modern, being a card from 2007.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
this
like
is
Dallas said, this
very,
card is kind of
like,
bad. I
classic.
think it's technically better than Diabolos because we're Monarch adjacent. This is a level 6 dark zombie with 2400 attack and 1200 defense, so not
I mean,
a
yeah,
Monarch stat line, but same attack stat.
We're getting there.
If you tribute this card, the tribute must be dark, so you can special it, but you can only tribute it with a dark. But if this card is tributed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, add it back to your hand. So
That's cute.
if you sack it with a virus, he comes back.
I think this might have actually seen like some kind of play if it wasn't for the tribute for this must be dark.
Yeah, like it's a cute effect that I can see someone abusing, but especially circa 2007, 2008, this card was not getting anything done.
I mean, I guess technically I could see this being like somewhat like experimented with in Monarch builds because like
Probably.
you can Stormforth this over Dad, and like Dark was popular at the time, so I don't think it has like no application. And Caius is still the best Monarch, so like you could do some things with this.
This was
Hey,
definitely a better card than Diabolos. We can definitely.
100%.
Dallas saying Caius was good. Fun fact, Caius got a reprint in the structure deck these cards are from originally. Even Konami knew it. They were like,
wait,
you should play
an
Caius with
OCG
this.
reprint? An OCG reprint? Or
Yeah, the
TCG?
OCG version of the structure deck was
Okay.
like,
Because I
You're
remember
you're playing a
the
dark
Caius
beater deck?
structure
yeah, that was a separate one. But also the OCG was like, you know what's really cool? A really cool dark monster for dark beater decks? Caius.
Yeah.
No,
No, this card is firmly mid, I would say.
Here's another, I
He's
think,
not
firmly
bad.
mid card, but one that did actually see some play, but was originally in the structure. It's Mist Archfiend, or Mistodemon, in the OCG.
Yeah.
That was originally part of this kind of like dark beater strat.
This is also something that I've kind of like realized recently playing a lot of Magic precons. Structure decks are going to have bad cards in them. That's just kind of how they're designed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it serves two purposes. One, it's like ostensibly, you can teach your players that different cards have different value. You got to include some bad cards so that, the game is not, like, perfect, and also players can learn what the fuck a bad card is. But also, in a list, the way Yu-Gi-Oh! Usually works, because of the set restrictions, is the common advice is to buy 3 copies of a structure deck. That means you have to have cards to cut in the structure deck.
Well,
Yeah, and,
and for
With
Matt,
40 good names, you got to do something different. Go ahead, Dallas.
no, Vesper was first.
I was gonna make a joke. The one thing the one thing that the precons have taught me is that tap lands suck ass, and they should stop putting them in. They should stop putting 50 in the precons. Oh my fucking god!
Yeah,
I
like
hate taplets.
so there are like 3 Taplands that I would still play. Any 3-colored, any of the Surveil ones, or any that do something special, but generic dual. Unless you're like an insane person like me and you have 32 different commander decks and you're not paying for that many mana bases, so you just use draft chaff lands, tap dual lands are not good anymore. They're not good enough anymore. But MTG loves them. But
here's Mr.
No, Magic for that. Magic specifically has, and I think Yu-Gi-Oh probably has this too. There's a design philosophy where they want you to take like 20 cards out of your pre-con so you can feel smart about upgrading it, and everyone will have a sort of different deck. Like, they don't just want people to put the same 2 decks against each other over and over again.
Well, and Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh! At least in the OCG, literally has a product for that. They sell power-up packs. They'll sell randomized boosters full of like reprints that are supposed to improve your deck. They only do that in the OCG, but like that's how the
Konami of
OCG
America
team
hates
designs
us.
it. Well, usually the power-up packs are just reprints, so the TCG
still, like,
aggressively reprints anyway.
I'll just say this. The one area of Konami of America that really pisses me off is just everything involving structure decks.
I mean, it is something we just talked about, how, like, yeah, the original version of this dark structure deck was lame, but the TCG was just like, fuck it, skip it, cannibalize it.
But, like,
and
that's
they've
how you
done
get
that
people into
to
the game.
Other bad structure decks, yes. Now, admittedly, I think, possibly a little incorrectly, but, like, Konami, I think, knows, like, what good ideas for structure decks are when it comes to, like, nostalgia. Like, I think they cannibalized the retrain of the Agents and Hyperion structure deck, and they put all that shit in one of the Ghosts of the Past. Probably not great, because that set wasn't great, and nobody was going to buy it. But that does mean that Konami of America correctly judged that nobody was going to buy an Agent structure deck on its own.
This also causes those problems, because we talked about Crush cards earlier. That was originally printed in a structure deck we never got.
Yeah, that was a problem. And that, I think, they're getting better about. They're also getting better about another thing you could say about TCG structure decks was, obviously, they still, when OCG structure decks print Max C, they cut that shit out and they find a different hand trap, assuming they're not already playing, like, you know, Ash and Imperm. They'll usually, like, tuck, like, a Lightning Storm or a Raigeki or something in there, maybe a weird trap card. They find something else for it. But, like, there were for a while structure decks in the OCG that were doing shit like giving you extra Raigekis, extra Imperms, extra Ashes, and Konami was very careful about porting those over. That I think they have dropped. The Blue Eyes structure deck, which is probably selling like bonkers because it's a Blue Eyes structure deck, has Ash in it on both sides of the ocean, and they were just like, fuck it, good. Ash Blossom.
Yeah, I will say one more thing on structure decks.
Yes.
Regardless of this one being bad, I would say the other structure decks we have looked at, while they were flawed, they all have an interesting concept behind the design. Whereas, as you said, this is just dark beaters, and there isn't just anything interesting happening in the structure deck to kind of reason it being its own structure deck.
This does look like one of the worst structures of all time. Like, I will definitely give you that. Like, this does look like an exceptional.
When we talked a couple of weeks ago, to catch Dallas up, we talked a couple of weeks ago about Counter Fairies and Parshath. Obviously, the original Air Knight Parshath was like a GOAT card, like an old school staple. But they added a retrain and a couple of those Counter Fairy cards to a structure deck in the OCG that was just broken up in the TCG. That was also probably not a great deck, but was thematically cohesive and was a great source of a reprint of a bunch of counter traps and shit and field spell stuff like Sanctuary in the Sky and Nova Summoner were all in it. Like, that was probably a loss. But, you know, I mean, even back in the day, like, the original 2 structure decks was, I think, Dragon's Roar and I don't remember what it was, Zombie something, I think.
Oh, no, you know what, Omega, never mind. I absolutely disagree with them not porting this over to the TCG.
Oh, what did you looked at it? What's in it that you're thinking
about?
Yeah,
Crush Card Virus again.
Oh, yeah, that's right. This would have been one of the reprints. Yes.
Stop giving the TCG important cards.
You'll be happy to know,
They've been
Dallas,
better about
they
it.
usually don't do that. There was a little concern with the latest Monsters of Battles of Legends set they just released. There were some other issues that we talked about in the beginning of the stream I don't need to rehash. There was some questions about, like, there are a couple of, like, weird promo imports they didn't get to. Like, one of the Sky Striker manga promos didn't get brought over. Everybody thought Camellia would be in the new set, and she's not, which is, like, annoying, but also that's one of those things of, like, well, she was a weird manga promo, guys. They, that's just, like, when they can figure out the space, But they also,
Actually,
like, finally are bringing over, like...
Looking at this structure deck, ironically enough, other than all the new cards, the structure deck is kind of baller as hell.
Oh,
Like
it's
Spirit
kinda
Reaper, Stealth Bird, MST, Heavy Storm,
just
Crush
like
Card, Magic Cylinder.
it's basically
Dimension
like
Ball.
a dark OTK deck, right? Like, it sounds like it's full of battle
Yeah.
tricks that, like, damage your opponent and, like,
All three
beaters and
viruses.
burn cards and shit.
Pot of
Which is cool.
Avarice,
Was good.
Would have
Was
been
a good...
expensive as hell at the time.
Like that was just dark beats would have been a good strat. The problem was that they came with a lot of weird ones. Now, Mist Archfiend, who's been on screen for like 10 minutes, is actually a played
sorry.
card. It's okay now.
Yeah.
We're glad to have the commentary. Mist Archfiend is a Dark Fiend level 5 with 2400 attack and 0 defense. So he's basically, I mean, you can see it in the art. He's Summon Skull but Misty. But his effect is you can normal summon him without tributing. Once per turn during the end phase, if this card was summoned this way, destroy it, take 1k. So, like, this is actually a card that was teched in some decks, yeah. Like, because you can tribute it if you have a monster to get a 24 beater, but otherwise it's basically just a removal spell. Oh, your opponent summoned something you can't get over with a regular normal summon? Well, I'll normal summon Mist Archfiend, and beat over and then sack him at the end. And God knows if you could, like, summon him back or
God, what is the card? The Soul Taker?
Indomitable. Oh, I was just gonna say this is just basically a more complicated version of Indomitable Fighter Lele.
True, but isn't Soul Taker pay 1,000 just destroy a monster?
Yeah, it's either pay 1k or give your opponent 1k. I don't remember which, but
it's Soul Taker in monster form.
Yeah, no, he's a Soul Taker with legs, which means you actually get to do a little battle damage on top. And like I said, if you have the bodies, he's got 2400 attack, which is the competitive attack stat for like a 5 or 6 star. So like,
and he does literally have the Monarch stat line. Oh no, he doesn't. He has
no, he has zero defense. Like he can't beat original summoned Skull, but that's because he has an effect. So no, this was a playing
original summoned Skull because this was like what. This was GX, so it would have been having to beat like Chaos Sork, which it hits over, Monarch, which it crashes with. So yeah, it takes out most of the important stuff.
It's just like a little removal spell, which
like Set and BLS were banned at the time. So yeah, no, it's not a bad card. It's still funny that it's a secret rare, but
yeah, that's definitely one of those cases of that's something that TCG has always had a fucking problem with that they just won't stop doing ever, I guess.
They really go throw a dartboard to decide rarity sometimes, it feels like.
It's like, just like...
We joke, but legitimately, sometimes there's just a random card like, why is this an ultra rare? Why is this an ulti?
Like, why is this at least is a case of, like, they picked the best card from the structure deck and were like,
I feel like rare. Most card games are like Magic. Magic has actually had that problem a lot in the opposite direction recently. There are a bunch of cards that I'm just like, why the hell is this a common? Why the hell did you print fucking stock up at uncommon?
I do also want to throw a little shade at the Yu-Gi-Oh community.
Pauper sounds insane for Magic.
Pauper has a fortunately, Pauper is like one of the most what's it called? Community managed formats in Magic. They have their own dev that just manages the Pauper ban list.
Yeah, Konami needs to hire that guy for common charity. That's a very different. But what I was going to say was, I will throw a little shade at the Yu-Gi-Oh community, but people complain online, and they're not always the same people, but some people who are the same complain and are hypocrites. But people complain all the time about, like, Konami of America artificially inflating, deck prices by making a lot of stuff like secrets or ultras and so on. But also, in the rare case when Konami actually makes decks, like, keeps them to be budget, Tenpai was one of the more recent examples and stuff like that, I feel like everybody gets way more mad about those decks faster because everybody's playing them. It's one of those cases of, like,
True.
You can't have your cake and eat it too. Like, if you want them to print complete decks at low rarities, you can't complain when everybody plays the cheapest deck in the room and beats you up because it's literally pennies compared to, the elitist Ubel Fiendsmith.
Yeah, I mean, look,
very expensive.
You can complain about the way the deck functions, but I think you can complain about, like, well, I don't like the axis the deck plays on, but you can't complain about it being cheap.
Or prevalent is another thing. It's like, of course,
it's one of those things of, like,
it's not $900.
You talk about, like, oh man, Tenpai sucks. It's
popular
everywhere.
Magic deck. Mono Red's the most popular Magic deck because it's like $50.
I built a Goblin deck one time for like $10, and it won locals because it's just goblins and
You
penguins.
just do that. It's Mono Red attack. Mono Red turn left is always the cheapest deck.
Well, and I will say this is something that is great about originally MBT, and then Danny took it over recently, but the Broke Boys series.
Broke Boys, so good.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Is really cool.
Over now, yeah.
Yeah, I think they did the last episode, but they did 2 seasons. And the recent one is sponsored by the EU store, by Card Market, not by TCG Player.
TCG Player.
But on that one,
like, it's definitely a case where, like, people think that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is, like, super expensive, and it is. It can be very expensive in formats.
But also very cheap.
Yeah, if you want to, you can play a lot of really fun decks for cheap.
Yeah.
And even if you're just investing in, like, a couple of expensive core cards, you can play a cheap-ass skeleton of a deck and then be like,
I finally have a paper Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck because my favorite deck is not that expensive.
oh, well,
I
we
have
play paper.
MTG precons, and I am slowly deciding on if I want to build, like, from this ground up, a commander deck with the 14 twins, with Palisade and Alphino, because they're so fun.
That's a fun one. Yeah. No, Magic is very good at making budget cheap. There's a I'm gonna shout. Omega, is it okay if we shout out a channel, a YouTube
You
channel?
already did earlier.
Yeah.
As far as I know he's not problematic. He's part of MTG Goldfish, which is it's like a sale and, like, data collection website almost, like, where like
I've seen them
post
tweeting a lot of
and
stuff about the FF stuff.
It's run by a pretty good guy, Richard, but there's a person on there called Tomer, also known as Budget Commander, who, like, one of his biggest videos is 50 commander decks under $50. Because you can build commander decks pretty cheap if you really hyper focus on stuff.
That's pretty cool.
Because honestly, the two expensive, like, it's similar to Yu-Gi-Oh! I think. For every really necessary staple card, there's always a slightly worse but still really good version of that.
Look, why would I play the $15 wind-up rabbit when I can just get, like, this like 5-cent card that does the same thing? That's just not as incredible.
Yeah, like, there's a card called Mana Crypt.
Oh.
Which is 0 mana, tap for 2 colorless mana. At the beginning of your upkeep, flip a coin, take 6 damage, I think, or something. It doesn't matter. But regardless, it's 0 mana, tap for 2 colorless mana. This is an extremely powerful card. Before it was banned, it was also like $200-ish because it's from, like, the before times. Not a lot of reprints. But also, Soul Ring is 1 mana, does the same thing, has no downside, and is like $1.
And they printed every single precon now, so they destroyed its cost.
Oh yeah, 100%.
For good in this case, I would say.
For good reason. I still want Soul Ring banned personally because I just don't like the play pattern it causes. It's the same reason I think
Soul Ring a week or two ago. It's very fun.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like it's similar to Pot of Greed. It's not that I think it's an overpowered effect. It's that when someone draws it and the other people don't draw it, it just changes the game dynamic immediately.
Fair.
Regardless, but
Yeah.
Mr. Archfiend, I think, is a cool. Oh, he's already changed. Sorry.
He left. You could say about Mr. Archfiend if you want.
I think it was decent art. He was very like nothing special, but
he was
nothing
Summon
awful.
Skull, but foggy. This is Plague Wolf, Ekibio Okami. He looks good.
Oh, he's a good boy.
He's a Plague Wolf. This is basically another card that's in that same vein as Mist Archfiend. This is a Dark Zombie level 3 that's 1k, 1k, but it has a once per turn you can make this card's attack become double its original attack until the end of this turn, which does mean you can't, like, modulate with equip spells as easily. But then it says once per turn during the end phase if this effect was activated, destroy this card, so it just can become a 2k beater and then blows itself up if you did that.
I honestly love these kinds of this are now it gets
Ooh, it's really robotic.
sort of like that drawback, which I all sense in retiring.
Okay, Discord, how you doing?
Oh, yeah. Discord is dying.
I hear you guys.
All right, okay. Yeah, I didn't get a lot of what Vesper said there on my end.
I got some of it about drawbacks, which I agree with.
Oh, yeah, they're just Vesper's like dropping and reconnecting. I think they were also having a problem. I think I understood the gist of what Vesper was going for, saying that, like, you know, situational cards like that like do a thing but then have a drawback is interesting.
I believe I exploded.
Oh, yep, you're
Ooh,
back now.
Okay,
Val.
that's why there was some robot there. Yes.
I'm currently on my phone right now.
Rip.
That
But
was
yeah,
me in the Discord call on my that popped in.
Yeah,
Well, at
Discord
least you're
garbled
back.
most of what you said, but I think we got the gist. You know, the Plague Wolf's in a really fun design space where, like, it is just a body, but then it can also be kind of like basically a removal spell because it, you know, does an attack modulate with a downside.
I do enjoy the theming of the structure decks. Like, even though I would say this structure deck is like middling in terms of a design philosophy, or well, like a full design spectrum. The philosophy of the individual cards, like this and the card before, that have these sort of, oh, you can get a powerful effect off or cheat something out. It's just not gonna last long because it comes with the price.
Yeah. And honestly, it doesn't seem like was this card played? Because this card doesn't seem too bad.
It might have had like middling play here and there, but it really is a 2K beater, which, while still like was a benchmark at the time, I don't think was like sought after the point of
It
playing
was
it.
a
for your
zombie-
Because it is a zombie.
So it might have seen some fringe play there, but, like, at this point, you know, we had multiple, like, 1900 beaters, and there were still obviously all the cards like, you know, Goblin Attack Force and shit that were, like, over 2k attackers with downsides kind of a thing. So
I would rather just play the Goblin Attack Force that I could potentially protect than the Plague Wolf that is guaranteed to go to the grave.
yeah.
Personally.
Well, the only reason I mentioned that is because unlike a lot of archetypes, early zombie decks were kind of xenophobic.
Yeah.
Like, especially I'm thinking in the synchro era, this might have seen play where there's a lot of zombie synchro monsters that are like require a tuner and a zombie monster.
Definitely, like, being level 3 and then being, like, 2k, you get level
Like,
utility,
I just can't
basically.
think of another level 3 zombie at the time that was like very good.
Not too sure off the top of my head now. They mentioned it, but
Obviously, later there's stuff that like makes this
Tuner
irrelevant,
zombies.
like zombie. Well, not the tuner, so less that. But I like the Onis,
Mm.
the stuff like that, where but early in the game, I imagine this was at least tested and stuff. Like, unlike Diabolos and the Lich Dude, like, I could see this being in a deck.
Yeah, I could see being jump scared by this card at locals like one too many times. I'm like, all right, guys, like, what are we doing? But aside from that, it's like, yeah, it's a fine card.
Well, because I mostly remember it for that one zombie synchro. I think it's called, like, Dark Ruler Hades.
Hades.
Yeah, that was like...
Yeah, was that
It was a level
version?
5 zombie synchro, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
he
which,
was
and
also-
you
he
had
was
to
also
use
a normal
you had to
monster.
use plagues. There's I think it's revived King Hades is the synchro version.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Now,
Yeah,
Omega,
he was like a sync 5.
I have not. Did you know this card is related to Eradicate Epidemic Virus according to the Yu-Gi-Oh fandom site? This card you put up on the board. I don't understand what the relation is. Explain to me.
It's in the same structure deck.
They do a weird related thing with like, oh, every virus is paired with one of the new guys. They're not really.
Oh,
This is Prometheus, King
no.
of Shadows, Yami o Prometheusu. So now we, much like Perseus, we have our weirdly appropriated
I
Greek
remember
name.
this card just liking the design of it.
He looks
The
cool.
closest I
Like,
can get to it is that deck dev has the same character that starts in Diabolos' Japanese name.
oh
Same
yes,
as
that is.
Eradicator and Prometheus, King of Shadows. It's the same character that starts in
So this is
card's name, but that's barely a relation.
this card is Yami o Prometheus, which does mean he shares the darkness. But guess what? You can technically, I guess, use Eradicator with this guy, but it's hard. We'll come back to talk about how sick his art is in a second. This is a Dark Fiend level 4 with 1200 attack and 800 defense. It says if this card is normaled, banish one or more dark monsters from your graveyard. If you do, this card gains 400 attack for each until the end of this turn. So he's a
I think,
temporary bazoo.
I think I realized something here, and it's that I figured out my problem with the structure deck as a cohesive unit, in that Plague Wolf and Lich Lord of Darkness feel like they come from a completely different art design than Diabolos, Prometheus, and Mist Archfiend.
Yeah, like these cards were made brand new for the structure, but they're very different. This guy has like
this is an anime-ass design, whereas the Plague Wolf.
I would
and
almost
Lich
even
Lord
say this
feel
is like
this is like a
Prometheus
horror movie.
Prometheus is almost like a 90s comics design. Like this
yeah,
guy's
no, it's
like a
Spawn.
weird off-brand Spawn. Yeah.
He feels like a Spawn character, yeah.
You know, Rob Liefeld draws this guy because he has no feet.
Literally no feet. The Liefeldian perfection.
Oops, all darkness.
But yeah, no, this design is dope. I kind of love the crimson, orange, and gold motif with like the splotches of black because of darkness, and the green eyes. We have a great color palette of high contrast colors that, in reality, should be hurting each other, but it flows nicely. It flows well.
I want to be very clear. I think the art is good for this one. The only art I haven't liked so far has been Diabolos. It's just the overall theming is very different than the Plague Wolf and Lich Lord.
Because like Diabolos, Prometheus, and stuff like Diabolos, like Prometheus, Diabolos, and the other card that I said. These cards have a cool like Dark World-esque design space to them, and then we have these other cards that are like, oh, here's just a really sick-looking dog, like a zombie dog. That's a little like not realistic, but it's like it's far more realistic than these like comic hash styles for the demon lords.
These guys are from an action movie, whereas the other guys were from a horror movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and again, he's a bad bazoo. Lets you banish.
This card is,
technically,
like,
you can banish
really bad.
unlimited dark monsters, and he gains 400 for each, but it's only for one turn. So, like, yes, technically late game that can be, the end of the game, and it does mean you can modulate his attack. Yeah, you are real. Lets you modulate like his attack
No, this card might be the worst we've seen. No, Diabola's probably still worse because it's a 2 tribute, but
A 2 tribute that says tributes must be dark and can't be special. Yes.
yeah.
In the worst case scenario, like you said, this guy's a shitty Bazoo, but a shitty Bazoo can still win you a game.
True.
That is true.
So like I think he works in the deck, like I said, because like, hey,
Wait,
you're
hold
gonna
on,
be
let me look
sending
something
fucking
up.
darks, so just banish a bunch. And Bazoo,
like,
I think,
I
didn't
guess-
see limits at least. I don't know if it was banned, but
It was, yeah.
Right,
But
it's-
Bazoo the Soul Eater. Was he limited?
Bazoo-
Or sorry, not. Okay, so I guess if you're running really hard on the dark theme, it works because Bazoo is Earth.
yeah.
Yeah, like Bazoo is Earth, and you can only banish up to 3. Where technically, looking at back and forth, Prometheus gains more attack and has no limit. So, well, I guess he's a shitty Bazoo that has to banish 1 to match Bazoo. He can banish more than 3.
I will
And he
also
can't-
say,
It's-
I have thought it was a little later, but I thought there is technically a tech where this works. Works great in DAD format, which is a little bit later because it lets you fix the amount of darks in your graveyard. You can banish
That's
1 or more
true.
darks on normal, which helps the OTK because then not only are you making this guy probably a bigger beater, like he's at least 16, but maybe more.
And it
but
works with what's
also
what's
you're
that
setting it
card? The tentacle head baby, tentacle baby head.
Necroface.
Necroface. Yeah.
Also, we did Different Dimension like last month sometime, I think. Technically, there's Return from the Dark Dimension as well, is a card similar to that. There's a, Call of the Haunted, but for banished dark monsters only that came out during this era. So, like, if you have the trap set, then banishing a dark monster means you can get him out of your graveyard.
No reason to run this.
He's not a good card.
Yeah,
But he's
looking
not
at
a
it-
useless card.
Yeah, I could see this being run in stuff, but like
He's similar to Plague Wolf. He's one of those niche cards like you would see at a locals level that would kick your shit in, would kill you, and you're like, how am I supposed to play it around that?
I could see-
a ton of
I
quality.
could see this being like one of at a YCS in like one person's deck, and everyone just looks
Yeah.
at them like, what is this?
But then he plays a second, or for some like, and he just plays a second for some reason because it has no reason to do with this card, but he just plays second because he's a good player. Also, cross-referenced, Bazoo was never hit. Looks like.
Okay.
So
He was
like,
just
like,
always relevant.
Like,
Speaking
he was
of
always
weird
relevant.
comic book ass looking cards. God, I
he was
remember
always
Bazoo.
relevant, and his inherent limitation did not make him like broken because he was only ever hitting 25, right?
Yeah.
The 300, yeah.
So speaking of cards that look like comic book art, this is the card Recurring Nightmare. This is a card that I remember us feeling really bad about because it was a secret rare in Force of the Breaker.
Oh, that looks sick.
Yeah.
No, that's great art.
So this is
But you're
Recurring
right.
Nightmare.
This is just
I
an
remember
Envy's
seeing this
comic book.
card and it looks fucking cool.
Yeah, it's dope, but it was a secret rare for us, and I don't know why because its effect is target 2 dark monsters with 0 defense in your graveyard, add them back to your hand. So it's add back exactly 2 darks.
Sorry.
I can tell you why. Because every card from that structure deck is a secret rare in Force of the Breaker.
Yeah, that's definitely. I think we were still under Upper Deck at this time because it was mid GX, but still,
No, it was after Upper Deck. Barely.
big. Obviously, in that case, then like Konami of America has like growing pains for like printing the sets, but like real shit that because like again we talked about this. The structure deck was cool. There were important reprints in it. None of the cards that were in the structure deck were probably good enough to be like blocked up as like the chase cards, you know?
I do just want to say, every other printing of this card is a common.
Yes, I saw that too. It's very funny.
Well, so you want to know the funny thing? Every secret rare from Force of the Breaker, bar 1, is from this structure deck.
Damn. That's so
It's every card in the structure deck and Volcanic Rocket.
And then, funnily enough, when we get to the Lair of Darkness structure deck, 10 years later, all the cards that were in the structure deck originally get reprinted again in the new structure as comments.
I think there might be one other card Omega is going to be showing from the structure deck. That's a secret rare, and then the other secret rare is Epidemic Eradicator Virus.
Yeah. Yes, there is. I don't remember if it's a secret rare because, like I said, Wikipedia's been.
It is, and it's awful.
But it is the other card that was, an original print in there. I can say the name. Like I said, I'm trying to load the Wikipedia so I can grab the asset.
Is it Sword of Dark Rites?
Yes, it is the Sword of Dark Rites, which I believe the OCG
So
name was
bad.
Sword of
Sacrifice Sword.
Sacrifice Sword,
It's
yeah, just Sacrifice
It is
Sword.
just Sacrifice Sword in Romaji.
Sacrifice Sword. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, do you want to say, art-wise, not as cool as Recurring Nightmare. Recurring Nightmare, very sick card, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Ass equip card design.
The card art looks nice. It does not look great.
Yes, but this is like, again, this is like, this was something they were like, shit, we need like 4 new cards. Hey, Kaz, what's in your notebook? And he's just like, I drew a cool sword. And they're like, rip, sick, rip it and ship it. This looks like something you'd see straight out of the manga.
This is the sort of Plague and Famine or whatever. I don't remember the magic.
Oh god. Sort of.
We don't have to get into it. We're so gapping.
Feast and famine. Feast and famine.
We've been in the weeds a lot, but that's what we love about Fail Portrayal. We are weeds. So, Sword of Dark Rites is a equip spell. You can only equip it to a dark monster. It gains 400 attack. When the equipped monster is tributed and this card is sent to the graveyard, return it to your hand. Not, like, awful, but again, absolutely should not be a secret. This is also, I think, the only card that wasn't reprinted for the Lair of Darkness structure deck because, like, by 2019, we were so past this phase of card design.
I will actually say this card is awful. I know you say it's not, but no, this card is absolutely unplayable.
I mean, 400 attack is not nothing. There are much better equip spells, but at the same time, I kind of, I see the line of, you equip it to a little guy to make him big enough to live, and then you tribute him into another big guy, and it's like, well, normally you'd just lose a card. But
I think what
good
they were
equip
thinking
spells
with this card,
plus.
I think what they were thinking about this card is that it is that you equip it to a monster to make it meet the requirements of one of the virus cards, and you tribute it.
I could see that.
It's cute. This is one of those cards. Like I mentioned before, is a perfect mid-tier. If we're being generous, structure that card does get replaced. Not a secret rare.
It should not have been a secret rare. You're gonna cut it. You're gonna cut it for space. I'm thinking about it it's kind of got the same vibes as something like Sword of the Deep-Seated or
But that was a common.
And those cards just return to the deck for free. Those cards.
Phoenix Blade, for instance, is pay to get back, and that's only 300 attack.
How about Act of Despair?
Yeah.
Daemonax isn't just Axe of the Archfiend.
Archfiend's Axe. What?
I mean, honestly, I'm kind of glad they did that with the parenthetical errata because I love the parentheticals. We should do way more parentheticals.
That's hilarious.
But they just were like, this is always an Archfiend card, and it's like...
No, my favorite is always the, Pigeonholing Book of Spells. They just renamed it. It's like, no, this was always a spellbook card. What are you talking about?
I mean, that's because that's when Konami decided to use spellbook as a turn of phrase, they were like, oh, this is old-ass trap card that has the correct phrasing on it, and it's like, really?
Look,
okay.
I bring it up every chance we get. I will never tire of reading effect text. Add one Guardian card for your deck to except out the Guardian Wing Dragon of the Fortress.
You're cutting out.
Celtic Guardian, Wing Guardian of the Fortress number 1, Wing Dragon Guardian of the Fortress number 2, Labyrinth, or the Reliable Guardian.
Yeah.
Add a Guardian card,
we got that.
except for all.
No,
Don't look at him. Don't look at him.
I still think the funniest exception is out of fusion card from your deck to hand other than diffusion wave motion.
God, that's another one.
This is funny. It's like,
I think at a point we just stopped putting that card on text on cards because it wasn't worth it.
Yes, at some point Konami just said, "Fuck it, you can add diffusion wave motion. We don't care."
This is I can't, if I find it I will put it in trad games. There is a like voice acted like YCS duel of Yugi versus like it's Kai or Pegasus, I forget which one. There is a point where he like plays Fusion Sage to add diffusion wave motion and the crowd goes fucking nuts. It's hilarious.
That works. It's very funny. So this is the
one of
medium
those
tier
like
of the virus.
the performance duels.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's a fully like trip scripted duel.
Okay. Okay, this is a card I will go to bat for. I think this card is overly hated.
I haven't seen it much, but I like the game design space. So this is Full Force Virus, deck destruction virus of shadows. So it'll be the shadow kanji on there. We're getting a little cute with the designs. This is Shirita Dark Monster with 2k or more defense. And it's, opponent's hand, all monsters they control, cards they draw until the third turn. Destroy monsters with 15 or 100 or less defense.
Yeah.
Also says a lot about the game state. This card got printed in 2017 as a secret rare in Raging Tempest, but I don't think it was... Yeah, no, it was just in Raging Tempest also as like a super in secret in Japanese as well. So
I'll say this. I think the reason people that don't like this card and overly hate it is because this is the card of the virus cards that requires you to pay the most attention and know the metagame the most. There are times where this card is objectively better than the other two viruses that are played, but people don't like it because you have to really know decks.
I think it's much more situational with the defense. Like, hitting attack, always good. Like, just if you block your opponent from attacking with big monsters, that's always going to be a net positive for you. Defense is definitely more tricky, but...
It's lower than 1500 defense.
Yes. That usually means that you're also blowing up big attack monsters because of how Yu-Gi-Oh! Stats tend to be balanced. So it gets
also hits?
weenies multiple way.
It is also very good in certain metas because this hits Ash Blossom, Effect Veiler, Droll and Lock, most of the hand traps. I think except for Ghost Ogre.
Like 1800 defense?
Oh, Ash has 1200 defense, if I remember correctly.
No, I think it was 1800.
Yeah, Ash has 18. You aren't wrong, though. This does hit all the other Ghost Girls. This blows up Droll.
It hits everything except for Ash. That's what I thought. I mixed that up.
So it's
so in formats where Ash isn't as good, it can really nuke hand traps.
If it weren't for the fact that you can activate Max C whenever you like, this would work against that because that's only 200. The problem is just your opponent would discard Max C in response to you activating this.
Max C, yeah. But it does actually hit drawing Max C.
Yes, true.
Because the draw trigger, they cannot. That trigger window is really weird.
Well, also, all of the viruses that still say that do note that cards you draw. So if you're playing Master Duel, for instance, where Max C is legal, and you hit your opponent with a deck virus, a virus card, if they're drawing off Max C, you still get to see all of those. All your triggers proc because they're drawing cards.
I'm just saying, in certain metas, this card is better than deck devastation. Yeah, and people just don't pay attention because it's like. But
it does require decks. It does require you to use a dark with 2,000 or more defense, which is a little different to set up.
It can be encumbering.
But it's still, I think, like you said, because this hits a lot of hand traps and a lot of other forms of interaction, I think that's, yes, very important to actually try out. And definitely should probably see more side deck play. I do think I have seen it in some side decks.
It also kills literally every Link monster.
I actually don't know if that's true.
Doesn't it? Oh god, this is a really
Links don't have a defense at all. They're not treated as having 0 defense. They just don't have a defense stat.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it works that way.
It's treated as having a stat as these just don't have levels.
Yeah. That said, like I said, this is why they should print that one virus card from the Vrains anime that literally did that to Link, was just Link monsters get floodgated.
I think the only problem of doing that is that you're just creating, like, I guess in a way it's them making the what is it, the not dimensional prison, the D-barrier.
Dimension barrier, yeah. Which doesn't name links
They're
normally.
making a D-barrier for links.
I mean, it is a little different than D-barrier because I think it still requires a tribute. Let me see if I can run it down.
But it's still, I still think this card is very good when you're going first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this card is, while it's not as good as Epidemic Eradicator Virus, which I think is the clear best virus, like,
Yeah.
I don't think there's a question. I still think this is not as unusable as people make it out to be.
Honestly, I'm thinking to myself, I'm just like, maybe if it didn't have the, like, check every card they draw card, but I'm just thinking, like, there's no deck virus that just destroys all monsters your opponent controls and in their hand, and I'm just like, how balanced would that be? Would you set that to, like, tribute 3k or higher and just be like, blow up everything? I don't think you could do that to have it be every monster you draw, just because that would be... Hand control is very powerful in Yu-Gi-Oh! And people don't always think of it that way, but destroying cards as you draw them is hand control, and just this is why hand ripping is so unfun, and why it does, if it actually is consistent,
like
usually gets
said,
banned.
I genuinely think my proposed goes in virus of, like, destroy all call an attribute, destroy all monsters of that attribute would work.
The Root Ransom virus is what it was called in the, and it's specifically attributed Dark Monster with 0 attack, which is not hard, but does require you to play a little setup.
I'm just trying to think of 0 off the top of my head now.
Yeah, tribute 1 Dark Monster with 0 attack, change the attack of all Link monsters in the field to 0, and they have their effects negated. Each time a Link monster is Link summoned while this card's in your graveyard, change the attack of all Link monsters in the field to 0, and they're negated. During your opponent's second end phase after this card's sent, banish it, is Root Ransom virus.
I would main deck this the hell in DDD. Are you kidding me? Do you know how many times I just have a random-ass Kepler on my board that I don't know what to do with?
Yeah, and I mean, it's technically, it is double-sided, because you can't activate it willy-nilly in DDD because that would negate your Gilgamesh and then eventually your new shiny Link 3.
Yeah, it'd probably be worse when the Link 3 comes out. But honestly, once Gilgamesh sets the scales, like, the other effect is cool, but...
I think the thing about Ransom that's very funny is the fact that it stays live in your graveyard and then banishes itself after, like, 2 turns. So, like, it works when you Link summon as well, so it truly is a, like, lingering floodgate on both players. That sounds a lot more fair than a lot of other Crush cards.
Yeah. No, I think that card would be sweet.
And there's a second one that Mark links to us. Current Corruption. That's a monster with 0 defense. Until your opponent's third end phase after activation, change the attack of all monsters your opponent controls to 2,000 or less, defense to 0, are negated. Monsters in your opponent's hand can't activate their effects. That we can't print. Tribute a Dark Monster with 0 defense for 3 turns. Your opponent can't activate hand effects, period. That's so mean.
I think that'd be... How many monsters with 0 defense are there? How many
Dark with 0? We've looked at a couple of them.
It would break DDD. It would break DDD. I fully realize this. But other than DDD, would it break any...
DDD already has a, like, semi-generic guy that was really annoying.
I think DDD already kind of does Cold Fusion if you know the recipe.
It's not that good.
I think it will be that good if you get your new support.
Have you seen the new cards?
Okay, yes, no, with the new cards it is kind of that good. But prior to the new cards.
Anyway, Absolute King Backjack is, like,
It's the god. He is the god of trap decks. For Labyrinth?
He's not, like, actually directly part of these decks, but I do believe he was reprinted in the Lair of Darkness structure deck, and we're talking about dark decks and trap decks. Backcheck, maybe,
This
centerpiece
man is
of so many decks. Yeah, by the way, if you don't get it, you can probably tell by looking at it, but this is also just, what if Jack Atlas was a jet plane?
Because he is
Zetayo
the king.
Bakujaku.
Yeah, he is the king. He is the best. He is the greatest, and he is Jack Atlas.
Also,
He's such a
this is
fucking
like
dork.
this is a fucking 3-tier pun, because the monster's name is, you know, Bakujaku. So that means it's Blackjack, Backpack, and could also be the back of Jack, as in back of Jack Atlas.
So
And
true.
it's a behind shot, so it's like
I love it.
it's
I love
so it's
Never
so
change,
anime
Japan. Never
dorky.
change.
Yeah.
Which fits Jack Atlas perfectly, because
Yes.
my favorite part of the 5D's dub, and why I will never watch it subtitles, is Jack Atlas being a completely useless human being.
Just make
Doesn't
it
See,
you watch the
I-
subs to actually see the ending?
The subtitle Jack Atlas voice is incredible though, because he is just as hammy, just in a different direction of hamminess.
No, that's
like
fair.
Jack
I will
Atlas
say
fan.
that subtitles are good. I can't get over the lines from the dub.
Also, hey, by the way, fun fact: we talked about how many dark monsters with 0 attack and defense there are. This is both of those things. This is
Yeah.
a zip.
No, realistically, you could not print the VFD one. I agree, but I want it for DDD.
Until your opponent's third end phase, you can't activate hand effects. Oh, just play Cali, you
if it-
Dallas.
If it was one turn, you could do it.
Yeah, honestly, a sacrifice, and it's like your opponent can't activate effects in hand.
I mean, that's
And if they're like
that's just
2,000
the
defense
ghost
or less, they get negated. Is like that's weird.
that's just the ghost meets girl, isn't it, or whatever that card was called?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Nui?
Shioranui, I think, yeah.
And
And that
Mayakashi.
card's still legal at like 3.
Mayakashi.
Mayakashi, yeah, Ghost Meets Girl. There's also
Well,
like
Shiranui
you know
and
you can
Mayakashi were the- yeah.
you can still play other stuff like that. But no, Backcheck's a great card, and you might not think it from its design. Like this is a Dark Fiend level 1 with 0/0. But during your opponent's turn, quick effect, banish this card from your graveyard, excavate the top card of your deck. If it's a normal trap, set it. Otherwise, send it. That set
I
card
will
can
say
be
that-
activated this turn.
I will say, because I have to represent, this is the inferior Yu-Gi-Oh! Persona card for a anime character.
Yeah.
Because I have to represent DDD Divine King Zero Rage.
Okay, but what about Kaiba Man?
God.
No, I'm still gonna go with Divine King Zero Rage because it's hilarious that
think
that is a
about it. I didn't
main
think
deck
about
card in DDD.
Yeah. But Backcheck's other effect is if it's sent to the graveyard, you can look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, put them on the top of your deck in any order. You can use each effect once per turn. So, yeah, chat. This is the ultimate let's go gambling of trap decks. Send him to your graveyard for any reason. Tribute him, link him, sack him, send him for cost. Discard him with Dinomischus, whatever. We don't care. If he goes to your graveyard, look at the top 3.
From memory, Backjack was roughly around the time people were saying, "Oh, trap like you shouldn't be playing traps in your decks anymore."
Yes.
This card came out and shut that up for like a year, basically.
It started as a gold
card
secret rare
existing.
in Premium Gold Return of the Bling, which was its only printing for like 3 years, so it was a little hard to get. But they reprinted it as a common in Lair of Darkness, the structure deck, the dark structure deck about traps.
Yeah. Like
And then
like,
since then,
this-
this guy has been a
He's just
centerpiece of structure decks. Talking about structure deck common printings, he was in the Dark World structure deck at common. He was in the Crimson King structure deck at common, which is the Red Dragon one. They reprinted him as a rare in Tactical Masters, which is the set what with the labyrinths.
they know how good this card was.
They've also blitzed him up. The Quarter Century Stampede, which just came out earlier this year, they printed him at Platinum Secret and Quarter Century Secret only if you want your highest rarity version. So, Konami understands that this is a card that is central to trap decks. Why is it central to trap decks? Because of the thing I just said. The very critical part of set it, and it can be activated this turn. That's if you can make trap cards be activated the turn they're set. That's really what defines a trap deck. Because unfortunately, Yu-Gi-Oh is at such a high pace of play that waiting a full turn for your interaction to be live is tough. Setting trap cards is important in decks.
There is a reason I think trap cards are better in Duel Links than they are in main Yu-Gi-Oh, because there's a lot of skills that make you set a trap card and you can just activate it immediately.
Yeah. And that's the thing that, like, that's what makes Labyrinth good. Like, people were playing Labyrinth wrong or building Labyrinth wrong for like a couple of months, and then they actually realized that, like, oh, the furniture just comes back forever, so we can just do Ku Klux control. Like, because that's Ku Klux default effects is discard it. You can activate one normal trap this turn, the turn it was set.
Ku Klux and Terrifying Toddler of Torment or whatever.
Yeah.
Control.
Which, I gotta be honest, I don't know how they didn't figure that out, because maybe it's because we are old people, but like, wasn't Makiura the Destructor like hella banned?
It wasn't. It wasn't.
Yeah, but they unbanned it when they eroded it.
It's just a case of design space influencing players in a certain direction. A great example is kind of how Sprite was like the super powerhouse in the OCG. I think we mentioned last week. Like Sprite was super powerhouse in OCG because the OCG just did not build tier the way that the TCG ended up doing, where we went full Gamba mode.
Yeah. I have to double check. I think Curious, like Lightsworn Curious, wasn't banned in the OCG until like months after we hit it in the TCG, if it's even banned over there. Like, because that's the thing. Like, when we invented Casino Tier, that was like, oh, Curious has to go, because that just lets you send cards off the top of your deck for nothing. Like, we embrace decks in such a different way. Honestly, Tactical Masters is full of that. That's the Valence Labyrinth Runic deck build pack.
Yeah,
Runic was another thing that, just like in the TCG and OCG, we both looked at it wrong. We were thinking of it. Even I made this mistake. We were thinking of it as a pure mill deck of like, oh, how do we win by milling our opponent out of 40 cards? You can do that in Runic. That's not how you actually play a Runic deck. Every card is an instant fusion, basically. So, like,
I will congratulate myself in being my one correct call in Yu-Gi-Oh history. I'm like, oh, this is just a control deck.
Yeah, no. If you thought that, you were right. It is like a control deck that happens to mill.
It's just a control deck.
Like, it's a really good control deck.
Oh no, it's amazing. I love it.
And Labyrinth is kind of the same way. People were not looking at Labyrinth correctly, I think, because they were like the first run of Labyrinth was just, I think, like Virus Turbo and maybe some stuff like that, and people didn't realize like how good it was to be like, oh no, this works with any normal trap. You can like. And obviously, Big Lady had to come out, Lovely Lady, not Lady... No, Lady Lab, sorry. Lovely Lady was the first one. Lady Lab was the second. Lady Labyrinth had to come out to, like, really let the deck pick up. But, you know, the rest of it was kind of in that space where it's like, oh, no, this deck's actually really good because just anything can send a card with a normal. So if you, like... Phoenix Wing Blast, or Compulse is a great card because it doesn't cost anything. You can compulse your own cards to trigger all your labyrinths. Like, people were just not thinking about it right.
No. Like, I think the fact that I'm so bad at predicting Yu-Gi-Oh cards and archetypes helped me predict Runic correctly, genuinely. And it's because I'm Magic Brand, and I know it, but...
Yeah.
It's not something I have to be, though.
When I looked at Runic, I was just like, oh, this is a control deck. Like, you don't have to mill their deck. You never have to mill their deck. You have to mill the right cards to make them not able to beat you.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you're playing against a DD, just because it's the deck I know the most, you're playing against a DDD player, you mill 3 Kepler, 3 Kepler, 3 Griffin, they're just kind of dead.
Also, Chad brought up a good point when we were talking about Zero Attack
Oh yeah,
Defense
Yubel.
Dark Monsters I forgot about. Yeah, Yubel, a meta deck.
Oh, right. Yeah, no. Okay, yeah, that card can never be printed, can it?
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah. Sag. I get it.
Yeah,
Sag.
Backjack is a great card just because it lets you activate the turn. It also gives you, like again, if you send it for anything, which there's a lot of ways to do that in these decks.
I love when anime
look at your
wank cards are just actually good. It's hilarious to me.
Honestly, it's like one of, I think, the couple of very unique things about Yu-Gi-Oh! That really works is that they, until very recently, they had this very distinct identity as a like multimedia property with the anime, which lets them come up with some very funny stuff that they can keep referencing.
I genuinely think Wizards stole the idea from Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, what if we just like started doing shit from outside of just our card game universe?
Like all the secret layers and shit.
Yeah, well, and now Universes Beyond was the ultimate conclusion, but yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that, like, no matter what about Konami, I can't imagine them doing that. Like, I cannot imagine Konami, a company like known to be a little bit penny pinchy and stuff, and all that. There's no way they would come to like a licensing revenuing agreement with like Square Enix, right? Like,
Yeah,
I
okay,
cannot imagine
but-
them doing that.
You know what I can't imagine?
they
And I
concept different.
genuinely can't imagine this. And if it happens, I will laugh my ass off. Universes Beyond Yu-Gi-Oh! The anime.
It has to be more than just
It'd
the
be
classic.
so funny.
It'd have to be all the eras. Yeah.
It would be so funny. I don't think Konami would go for it though, because they know that like Magic is like their like number 1/number 2 competition, depending on the day.
I could see them going for it for one reason. Is because they focus so much on the OCG, and if I remember correctly, Magic is not that popular in Japan.
Magic, I think, is still in the
it's
top 10, but it's
relatively-
not the top 3. Yeah.
It's relatively popular, but a lot of its popularity also just comes from it being known as, like Duel Masters, Kaijudo, any variation of that card game was just them taking Magic the Gathering and going, let's just put an anime veneer on it.
It's kind of like how, if you go back far enough, every like computer RPG in Japan is just either Dragon Dice or was like ripped off the one translation of second ed D&D they got. Like,
Yeah, it's like.
And you're probably right. The licensing would be a nightmare because they would have to figure out like what they would allow them to do and stuff. I could see Konami going for some of their other properties to be licensed, but not Yu-Gi-Oh! Probably.
like genuinely knowing how Konami is with the licenses, I would expect like Castlevania or like literally Metal Gear Solid before then.
Yeah.
And honestly, thinking about it, I don't think. I mean, I guess they did 40K, so like that's not realistic, but that's grimdark. But like,
hi, this is the layer of darkness, correct?
Yeah, I brought up the actual layer. Yeah. That's also true. Yeah. Honestly,
I love this art so much. By the way, this is like.
No, this.
I think this is top 10 field spell designs for art wise in Yu-Gi-Oh! In my opinion.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Good.
This also talking about like try-hard names in Japanese. This card is Ankoku Sekai Shadow Dystopia, Dark World Shadow Dystopia. The TCG just went Lair of Darkness.
See, that is one of the times where like you should have gone with the official name because Shadow Dystopia, or even just call it Shadow Dystopia. That's such a good name. Good.
Yeah, I think that would have worked.
Like Yu-Gi-Oh! Players aren't that dumb. They know the word dystopia.
There's literally cards in dystopia.
Utopia is a girl's name, though. Or Hope.
That's still my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Post of all time.
God, I can't.
So
somebody double check for me. Is Tuart still fucking employed? When are you gonna retire, man?
Wait, he is? Oh, they just took away his blog then.
Yeah, I don't think he does post anymore, like on socials.
They forbade him from being online.
I think that's the funniest disconnect between Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic. Like Magic, we have basically the equivalent of like Mr. Rogers, who does our like set previews, and Mark Rosewater is just this like very calm, very like, I think we gotta go through this. And then Yu-Gi-Oh just had this like schizophrenic like Reddit shitposter like fuck all of you.
Yu-Gi-Oh
Is slowly kind of creating a new personality.
That is very true.
Like they're slowly creating a new personality as kind of like the face of TCG and like announcements and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say
Which
this.
you do love.
Hey, Dallas, you'd know. Has Wizards of the Coast done any sponsored streams with VTubers yet?
Technically, one of the big Magic streamers is like a half VTuber, so not not a full VTuber, I would say.
Hey,
but
guess who's gonna
Vox is
be?
like
I'm
half
pretty sure if I'm
VTuber.
understanding the tweets correctly. Guess who's gonna be a fucking commentator for the Master Duel World Championship? Elizabeth Rose
amazing.
Bloodflame of HoloLive.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Seriously, Liz?
So
Yeah,
so
no,
Magic.
she's either promoting a documentary they're working on, or they've got her as a commentator about the World Championship qualifiers. Like,
I think
Also,
Konami
got her for
has
an
a question.
official sponsored stream.
That was I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Have they finally gotten the person who admitted to destroying all of the articles?
Who?
All the Magic articles, like a fuck ton of Magic design articles that got erased because they just fucking lost them.
I don't know.
Okay, never mind then.
I don't pay attention to drama anymore after the Commander ban list stuff. I kind of went full like I'm gonna kill this community. So I kind of stepped back from that space. So I don't know.
But yeah, no, like
Look, I'm not
Konami
saying the Magic
is kind
community
of
is good. I'm just saying the poster boy of Magic's design, Mark Rosewater, is very different than Konami's previous representation.
And I will say this also, Konami doesn't do any
Doesn't
I
do
think
any,
they just get like TV personalities to do like streams in the OCG. Like they don't have designers talk about design ever for Yu-Gi-Oh.
I think it really helps that one of Wizards' top designers, and he is like my favorite person who works at Wizards. I'm completely biased. His name is Gavin. He's one of their lead designers, and he is also a YouTube personality, or was a former YouTube personality. I don't.
Yeah,
remember,
I
like,
see him
the full
around.
story on
He
that.
shows up in Tolarian Community College a few times.
He's basically the like face of Wizards to the community at this point. Like he's the guy I was talking about who basically runs Pauper as a like
He
his
also,
two.
he also designed he was also the lead designer for the Final Fantasy set.
Yeah, he's the lead designer for most of the Universes Beyond sets. He really is like he has an entire video. There was this whole ban list drama stuff where Wizards had to take control of the Commander ban list.
Yeah.
Because they started getting death threats because our community is full of 9-year-olds. Or mentally 9-year-olds. But
Yeah, 9-year-olds don't have as much money as the people who
he
are upset
basically
about the
made a
Commander ban list.
they did a recent the newest ban list change, and he basically did a 20-minute or 30-minute video explaining why each card was banned, why each card wasn't going to be banned, why everything was moved. So basically he's like the most valuable person in Wizards, and I won't be surprised if they fire him for some stupid reason, because that's what Wizards seems to be love doing right now. Is shooting
Remember
themselves
that
in the
time
face.
Konami tried to explain the ban list, and it just boiled down to buy
They
a new
picked the
product?
worst one. Yeah, that's
Yo,
and that's
they picked
genuinely
the
why I
actively
think Konami
worst
can't.
time to try it.
That's why I think
Yeah.
Konami will never go back, because they are like still
No.
their bosses are still a Japanese company and they don't like to lose face. So like if they ever get their nose bloody, they're just gonna like shut up and never talk about it.
Like the thing with Wizards is like I make fun of them a lot because I hate some of the business decisions that they make, but they do have a genuinely good track record compared to most game companies of having people go online and explain like, okay, this is why we're doing what we do, or just honestly just admitting, all right guys, we really fucked this up. Like one of the first Magic articles I ever read was back in 2001 of them literally being like, okay, so we were playtesting with Skull Clan, and then we changed the wording of the card and forgot to playtest it afterwards, so that's why everything's a disaster right now. Our bad. We're just gonna ban Skull Clan because sorry.
I still just won't forgive Wizards for just getting rid of all the articles because they just fucking brick the server.
Is it the D&D stuff?
No, they got rid of all the fucking Magic articles. Like the article you said here, that doesn't exist anymore unless someone saved it.
I don't know. Someone probably saved it. I can't imagine the amount of nerds in this community not saving it.
Wizards definitely isn't perfect. And I mean, there's another thing I think about, like Konami, for instance, is I don't think anybody has yet seen a Yu-Gi-Oh card and gone, "Hey, is this AI art?" Magic has unfortunately been caught letting a couple of those slip by, or quote unquote slip by, or just being like, "If nobody says this is AI art, we're not going to say anything."
Yeah. Also, like it turns out. Wait, that's the one guy a lot of its AR is based on, which is.
But also, in a flip side of that, I will say the one thing I hate about Konami, or one of the things I hate about Konami, is just credit your fucking artists, please.
Yeah, we all say that is like that's like the one like serious black cloud about Yu-Gi-Oh is just
not
like.
Prepared to, I mean, like Suki Takahashi doesn't need to be put in the card. Just put the fucking artist name there.
Well, they put it on Suki Takahashi because the game is trademarked to him still.
He still owns Yu-Gi-Oh.
And now it's
his
like
estate
they moved it to his estate. Yeah, his company,
but
which was Studio Dice.
It's just like let artists display their art, because like I know for Magic, at least in a lot of the early days, that's how some artists got jobs. Is like, hey, I made this really cool Magic card that everyone really likes the art of. Can you give me a job?
And I think there are some Yu-Gi-Oh artists who like do acknowledge they drew those art. Like we know the artists of like stuff like the Trap Tricks and Knight and Sorcerer and stuff. Like there's a few that are known.
And there's a few that
so I assume that like behind closed doors, like Konami will like probably like give you a business reference, but they don't publish it, and that would be much better if all these artists could just like for sure put them on their portfolio.
Because it's like. I just don't get why.
It's Japanese versus. It's genuinely is Japanese versus American attitudes towards it.
Yeah, I think like with Japanese games and like stuff, you usually know if like the character designer is like famous, they get to like publicize their work, but all of the rest of the art team doesn't.
Like genuinely, Square Enix is kind of the exception in Japan of like they've always been very good about crediting artists and musicians. A lot of other Japanese game companies do not.
Well, the gang is all here.
They like that's Square Enix actually got a huge good reputation on the original Final Fantasy because they credited all of the BitTune artists and the original artists because they thought they were going to go out of business. So they were like, no, this is our life, blood, sweat, tears.
Everybody worked on the team. But yeah, the gang's all here, Loth's all here, and currently, all of us are Dark type. Because that's what Lair of Darkness does. Lair of Darkness is a field spell that says all face-up monsters become dark. Not are also dark, they become dark, so it's like a zombie world type floodgate. Once per turn, if you would tribute a monster you control to activate an effect, you can tribute a dark monster your opponent controls, even though you don't control it. I don't even know if they need to say that last part these days. But also, once per turn during the end phase, special summon as many Torment tokens, Dark Fiend level 3, 1k, as possible to the turn player's field and defense position, up to the number of monsters tributed this turn while this card was face up. And the Torment tokens are displayed on the left. It's just Lair of Darkness, but from a slightly different angle. We drew more spooky little guys.
It's Lair of Darkness shifted a little to the right.
It is, what is it? That song from The Little Mermaid, Poor Unfortunate Souls.
Yeah.
They are the weird little evil guys, yes.
I love this art so much. Like,
no, it's a really cool art. And also, honestly, really cool effect. All monsters become dark. No, if you would tribute a card, you can tribute one card your opponent controls instead, which obviously works for the viruses because now all your opponent's monsters are dark, etc. But then it has, in the end phase, it wraps around. Whoever was turn player gets tokens.
Like, this is my favorite type of card in any kind of card game, like Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh!, where this is a very clear build around.
Well, and this is the thing that's very funny. I don't know how much you're up on, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Content creators, Dallas, but, like, Mr. Douglas Zeef does a lot of series about Master Duel stuff.
I love DZ.
So you'll know from, like, if you've watched previous, like, pack dashes or master sagas or whatever that like Lair's a very powerful secret pack, but none of them want to risk it because this is like an ultra in the set.
No,
but
it's
if you did get it,
super.
it is a super. Okay, so it's a super, but it is like the build around super. And like honestly, they probably should have bit a couple of times because if you did get a couple of layers, this is brutal.
Like I do get it. There are cards like this in Magic where if you get them early on in it, like I do draft. Like the two ways I play Magic generally are draft and commander. I don't really play standard much because it's expensive as hell.
I don't. I've been playing a lot of commander lately. Like I'm probably gonna do some standard here and there, but
I do it on arena because it's not expensive, but I just can't afford a deck, and I like experimenting, so that's even more expensive.
I'm in that same boat.
There's cards like there's this card in limited right now called Sib-Sig Ceremony, which is every creature you control costs 2 mana less, but every time a creature enters the battlefield under your control, destroy it and make a 2/2 zombie. So if you get this early in a draft, you can build your entire draft around it, but if you don't get it early, you functionally cannot use it.
Yeah, it's a very funny.
That's what Lair of Darkness does.
Honestly, Dallas, if you are free Tuesdays sometime, you should also join us because sometimes we've been doing a little bit, not very frequently, but usually once a month, we try to schedule together a little Yu-Gi-Oh cube.
Okay, I'll do it.
The cubes are very fun. They're usually bullshit, and almost always the cube itself will break because of the draft the platform.
I'll say this. I'm so glad that they are implementing more of this in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I've always been of the opinion that while actual draft would not work in Yu-Gi-Oh!, Cube definitely can.
Yeah. There was a couple of creators who like popularized some cubes, and then YGO Pro made a what we used made a cube maker to do it. Let's see.
Man, I know it would work.
I know Axe found a different site. My problem with that one is that would require me to remember what the fuck my Twitch.com login is because it's to create cubes you have to log in via Twitch because it's like an API.
Sorry.
Which presumably is why
I just know that one doesn't fuck up.
Well, presumably it's you recognized it or found the links because that's what some other content guys use, which may be why it doesn't fuck up, but we'll have to see if it's workable.
I can look to see if maybe Draftism has a Yu-Gi-Oh! Cube thing.
But like the we've done some very oddball ones, but yeah. So Lair of Darkness is a card that like is like you said, build around. It's a strategy that like once you've put it into play, you're like, okay, this is what we're doing now. We're tributing, we're summoning darks, and we're doing weird dark stuff. And the tokens aren't like nothing. Like obviously this was Link era, so you know you are giving your opponent Link material, but only if they don't care about the fact that they're all dark and everything becomes dark. Which was not a guaranteed because remember these are Fiend dark tokens, so like Orcust can't really work with that because they need dark machines. You know, Salamangreat I think would have been around then. Can't work with that because they're dark now, not fire. So like, it doesn't prevent your opponent from like certain generic Link summonings. But if they have like a Link strategy that requires specific materials, the tokens can actually clog their board. They have to like start making like Link spiders and Link Karibos to like clear them.
Yeah, it's the kind of card that it was like I said, not gonna fuck up every deck, but there are specific decks that it'll hit the board against, and well, I can't play the game, I guess.
Yeah, it's the classic Zombie World problem, but not as saying quote unquote bad, not as harsh as Zombie World, because it doesn't also do graveyard.
It's not quite as Floodgatey. It's like the level of Floodgate. To me, it's the level of Floodgate that I think Yu-Gi-Oh players should just get over. Like this level of Floodgate is just something. Just deal with it.
I think Lair is like, it's annoying, but also, oh no, all your monsters have been transformed into what is nominally the strongest type or strongest attribute in the game. What will you do?
Yeah, it's not like we're making them fire aquas or something.
If Zombie World turned all monsters on field or graveyard into dragons, it would be played in every deck. Like, that's the thing, right? Like, Zombie World is a floodgate because zombies are a very, like you said, early zombies were a xenophobic kind of deck. They really like to play with only zombies. And, like, other decks are like, oh, my monsters are now zombies in my graveyard as well? That fucks up a lot of my attribute-specific targeting. But it's different. So the card I've now pulled up is Arima the Wicked Warden, or Arima the Wicked King. Aku-o.
Yeah, this is like whichever one the evil virus is, I forget.
Yeah. Named after Ariman, a.k.a. Anger Manu. Grinning Grave Virus, which we haven't gotten to. That was printed new in this structure deck. Had the Akuma tag. But, hey, this is a level 4 Dark Fiend, 1700 attack, 0 defense. Looking good, though you can tell this card was a like, Link era card from just, like, the way the line art is drawn. But, this is... which, by the way, great to me that they did this. This is one of those cards that you discard to add the field spell. We made a new one of those in 2019. It's still good. So it's discard this card, add Lair of Darkness. Too. Yes. Kind of like the other good like discard for field spell guys. He does something else. You can also, if you've already got Lair of Darkness, you can tribute a dark monster to draw 1. Or if you tribute a dark monster other than this card, add a dark with 2,000 or more def from your deck to your hand instead. You can only use this effect once per turn. So you can discard, by the way, as many times as you like. But this card also can tribute a dark to basically go +0, either searching a specific 2k or more dark monster, or just draw 1.
Had to post a picture in the FP chat of a Digimon that this reminds me of.
He's very good.
It does kind of look like that.
He does
Digimon,
look like a Digimon.
Because it's like, the Digimon is an evil dog, this is an evil dog. But this guy has an evil eye hat because of Anger Manu.
Yeah.
Angry Mangoes.
He's got a weird Arimon hat.
Oh.
And I don't know why exactly. This could just be a Final Fantasy reference because I know that every Final Fantasy game likes to make Arimon and Anger Manu, because they're the same thing, a giant eyeball enemy. I think the exception is like 12, it was a ghost in FF12, but even then it like still dropped an evil eyeball.
I love the idea that this dog would be doing whatever it's doing, but the Angramanu headpiece would just be having the most shitposty-like expressions with its one eye.
Very funny stuff,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Like you said, it could just be one of those like Japanese culturisms that just happens sometimes. Like goblins are like more of these koboldy like creatures, or kobolds are these like kind of canid things that are just what we decided on.
Actually, that does have a reason. That was a mistranslation from whatever version of D&D Japan got. They accidentally said dog-like snout or something instead of lizard-like snout. So Japanese people just thought kobolds were dogs for a while. And now they're just in it.
I think Aramon was said to have like a magic evil eye or something.
The evil eye is very common in a lot of mythology, so I wouldn't be shocked, yes.
In like the original Zoroastrian shit.
Yeah.
But
it still works, and this is a great guy because, like I said, he's 17-0, so like he has some stats, but not crazy good stats. But he fetches monsters you need, and is a fun little guy. And like I said, they printed the fucking field spell searcher in 2018. You know, pretty good stuff. By the way, it's very funny to me. I don't know why they did it this way, but like the Egyptian god decks they did a couple years ago. That were TCG exclusive, because this was Konami was like, unfortunately, right after the COVID boom, and because also I think right around like 2019 or 2020, like Yu-Gi-Oh! The anime went on Netflix like the first couple seasons, so like Konami was in a big nostalgia boom. So they tried a lot of like really shitty nostalgia product in the early 2020s. The Egyptian god structure decks were one of those. I still bought one because I thought it was neat and I liked the stuff they did with the Face Knights.
I will always forgive them for what they did for the my favorite nostalgia archetype, Sacred Beasts.
No, that also got
was
a structure
around the same time.
That was another good stuff. But you like,
and that was like actually good.
They also reprinted like all the Lair of Darkness stuff in the Slifer deck, and I don't know why. but I'm gonna pull up retrain Diabolos, big Diabolos now. Darkest
Diabolos the
Diabolos,
Diabolic.
which is his name is very funny in the OCG because it's now Ankoku no Mao Diabolosu. So now he's the Dark Demon King Diabolos. So Darkest Diabolos, Lord of the Lair, is like they spiced it up a little.
He's bigger. He's badder.
He looks a lot better too, I would say.
Yes,
Yeah?
obviously we saw him in
this is
Shadow
so
and Lair
much
of
better
Darkness,
art.
but like this is again very modern Yu-Gi-Oh, but in the best way of like, no, this guy has identity. He is a dark dragon,
Yeah.
but in a way that really works.
But it's also kind of unique. Like, the only card that kind of looks in any way similar to him is VFD, and even then, it's very clearly different.
He has a
breaking
similar
free
color
from
scheme to
his
VFD.
chains.
I think some of his silhouette is similar to like various Red Dragon Archfiends, but obviously he has a unique color scheme in that case. He's only got
like the
one
weird-
orb. Go.
Where probably an orb should be.
He's got one orb, and the orb is used effectively.
He's got the cyber scale. He's got like the weird cyber robot scale thing going on.
Yeah, he's got some Tron lines. I think they're probably supposed to be kind of like more like curse lines, or like.
I always
energy.
I always thought it was like his energy is like breaking him apart.
That
It
makes sense
probably
that
could work
way.
because he is like breaking out of his chains, like Loth said. He does have like blade knees, but he's a weird dark dragon. Of course he does. He also has like a
it's
stinger
not
tail.
excessive. Like, it's not like, remember when we did Destiny Heroes and everyone had like blades
Everyone
everywhere?
had backward blades on all their joints so they would stab
I
themselves.
still
yes.
remember Extra Hero where he just
Yeah.
has a fucking flat ass thing.
Like this one, it actually looks like
Like
Several of the extra heroes, yeah, we're just
it looks
the
like
lines
it
didn't make
makes sense. They're just on
This
his
works,
tail, on his tails, or no, on his knees. They're just on his knees.
Yeah, just on his knees. And he does have like a stinger on his tail, but it's not a blade. And I also like that, like, I think, like, talking about the lines and stuff, I think he's got, like, either outer layers of scale or, like, armor is bolted onto him, so it makes sense that he's got, like, these weird, like, hands gripping his chest and stuff, and he's got, like, extra wings on his wings, because they're, like, shoulder pauldrons. Like, he's covered in extra shit.
This might be a weird complaint. I think this is the first time I've ever complained this way about a Yu-Gi-Oh card. I think the only problem I have with this art is I think it held back a little too much. I would have liked them to do a little bit more with the chain motif.
I kind of see what you mean though. Like,
Yeah,
Like,
they did not really
like
go
a
that
lot,
far.
but just like I would like to like have seen like the chains be like attached to the ground, just more chain motif.
I mean, I will say, what we can say about this is we went pretty crazy with the, like, filter and background effects. Like, he's got, like, purple fog behind him and also is radiating the purple sex energy. And also there's lightning. There's two different kinds of lightning because there's, like, sky lightning and also ground lightning. Like, he's doing a lot of different effects, which obscures the fact that, like, he is kind of covered in the chains everywhere. They're, like, wrapped around both of his arms and legs and his neck, but it's harder to see even when blown
I
up.
wish the chains were bigger. Because like to me, it looks like how did these ever hold you down?
True. Also, yes, Chad has posted, and even in Trad Games, Zed posting, like, Grand Blue Bahamut. He does kind of look like that. He's got a Dark Dragon
He
design.
does. No, that's 100%. As someone who used to play GBF, that's 100% right.
Honestly,
shit.
also, with his, like, extra wing designs, this could, like, if there was a Final Fantasy where we had, like, evil Bahamut, this is very much in that zone.
Yeah.
Like, if there was, like, a dark
This
Giga
is
Flare.
Umbral Bahamut or whatever it would be.
We don't even talk about Lunar Bahamut.
But I do like the design of Diabolos here, because, like, to me, it's just the right level of extra, like, for the archetype, where it's not like, okay, you're like, I'm not fucking Simon Cowell, like, that's the sound of trying too hard.
No, it does the thing. It doesn't do the thing, rather, I should phrase this, as that we talk about before on Fail Betrayal. You've been doing it for years. It's not too busy. My eyes don't get lost looking at this. I can make sense of everything going on here, but also he's not, like, so plain that you go, yeah, it's just a guy. Like, that was regular Diabolos' problem. We looked at him and we're just like, yeah, he's a dark dragon.
Oh, yeah, he's just a dude.
There's a million of these. There's a
1,000
million dark
dragons.
dragons in this game.
Like, he's unique enough to this game because now I literally can't get the GBF Bahamut thing out of my head.
Yeah.
There's a million of designs in Yu-Gi-Oh, and he doesn't necessarily look a lot like any of them.
He's
Oh
kind
my
of
God.
doing his own thing. And you, oh my God, I got the thing that Marth just, Chris Starr just posted it. Sorry.
Yeah, the wheelception. I'm sorry. I just like what the fuck.
Yu-Gi-Oh, but
Wheels
with
at
random
once.
rules, wheels and wheels. God, Mr. Doug.
I love Dizzy. Like, that's the one.
We talked, because Master Roulette was so many years ago that was ongoing when you, Dallas, were regularly on Fail Portrayal.
Yup.
Doug took some shit talks, and I think he does take some correct gaff, because I don't think that Mr. Douglas Zeef is a very creative deck builder usually. Like, he's not great at out-of-the-box thinking.
The stun deck player, honestly, at heart.
I don't think that's
No.
I will
think so.
I will say this. I think the biggest problem with Master Roulette, at least, is that his opponent is a very creative deck builder. So
Yes.
by comparison, he looks uncreative.
MBT is
MBT
really good
is,
at limited
from my
series and
heart,
just...
he has some wild shit in his brain, and I love it.
MBT is really adaptable, and I don't know if it's just because, like, I mean, this is the thing they talk about in
He's a
MasterChef of
Magic
like,
player. It's
oh,
'cause he's
I
a
don't,
Magic player. I
I don't
guarantee
play, I don't play my TMTs anymore. But like, he at least did many years of playing 10-minute testing, so like every week a different deck, and like I assume that he's like looking at the deck lists, even if he is not directly playing the games. He
It's
still has to
because
like
Magic-
understand how the
it's-
decks work.
I think
And he
it's
did used to play
genuinely because
Magic.
Magic forces you to do that, because the meta changes so often that you have to, if he's a Magic standard player, you have to
Yeah, he
learn new
was
decks
once
all
upon a
the
time. I
time.
don't remember if he's off and on about actually playing Magic again, but yeah, no, like, so
He doesn't play standard, I can guarantee that.
he is the guy who's the master at like looking at a deck and going, oh yeah, I remember this list from this time. That was another
Or
thing.
just
that, like,
looking at cards and being like, what could I do with this shit?
and like he was on Simo's History of Jank and History of Yu-Gi-Oh for a long time, so he's familiar with a lot of
Anytime he
historic
calls a deck
eras.
anytime he calls a deck slop, I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna love this. I'm going to love this.
Because he just
Sometimes
gooped
you
together
play the
everything.
slop.
He just gooped together all the cards with incidental
Yeah.
synergies.
It's like these have
Um,
synergy. I will
but, like,
force this together.
Doug, I think, is a very good player,
He's a
and
good
he has
player.
good ideas about structure. It's just that, like, he's used to playing very focused decks, and also, this is a problem lots of Yu-Gi-Oh content creators have. He had a specific peak era of Yu-Gi-Oh, which is not modern. He does not play, like, literal cutting-edge TCG format right now.
Yeah.
So, like, and cards printed after, like, 2022, if we're being generous, he's like, I don't fucking know this card. Compared to, like, that is one thing I will say that is a positive
Well, it's
for
like-
Gage. Gage Nimnim is, he still keeps up with, like, current TCG decks, so, like, he understands modern engine like Snake Eye and Fiendsmith.
Well, it's
some-
one of those things where it's like,
Go ahead.
to me, it's the difference between a standard player and a modern player in Magic. Like, I am confident in saying I could never play a single deck to the high. I did it once in my life and I stopped. I am not the kind of person that could play a single deck to an extremely high level. I just can't. I'm the kind of person that every week I try a new deck and just be like, all right, what bullshit can I do? What bullshit am I on?
Like, not
And
again, not to vamp too much, but this is why I think, besides just the fact that they kvetch at each other constantly, this is the thing that makes Master Duel Master Chef very funny, because each of the four guys, the four wonky quartet, has like a distinct deck building style. Gage is not good at building decks that are janky. Like, he
no.
and his chat love to optimize, so he'll be like, okay, if to make this weird combo work, I need to play an engine that's 100% consistent. Like just playing Spiral into World FTK, he did one week, for instance. But he understands modern cards and modern decks. Doug plays a lot of decks from, like, I want to say, like, 2012 to 2022 at the latest, and that's being generous. but definitely
I think it's
2022 was still 3 years ago.
Early. I think it's 2014 to 2022.
That's fair. I wanted to make it an even 10 years. But yeah, like he has a block of decks that he understands pretty well and will go back to. And if they're outside of that, if they're too old or too new, he doesn't know. Farfa, for the best and the worst, is very table 500 pilled. He thinks of like a weird combo line, not a deck, but a combo line that does the thing he wants to do, which sometimes is creative and other times fucks him. And then MBT, like, he has a huge library of 10-minute testings to, like, go back on. And sometimes that means that he doesn't change that up a little, but, you know.
No. I can 100% tell MBT was a draft player in Magic.
I think he said
because that's the brain he has of, like, okay, I have very limited resources. I didn't pull well. What can I do so I don't explode? Like...
And speaking of limited formats,
like,
no, go ahead, finish your thought.
Farfa has a similar jank brain, but it's the constructed jank. It's the like, I have access to everything, but I really want to do this funny thing.
Yeah. So to talk about limited sets, if you were playing some sort of cube or draft where Darkest Diabolus was legal, it'd be pretty mean, because this guy is a level 8 Dark Dragon, 3k, 2k. First of all, your opponent cannot tribute this face-up card on the field and can't target it with card effects. So this is an unkaijuable monster. This was after kaijus, I believe, so very funny about that. Also means that, like, you can't reciprocal it with Lair of Darkness and stuff. And you can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If a dark monster you control is tributed, except during the damage step, special summon this card from your graveyard if it was there, or hand, even if not. So just, unlike the original Diabolus who couldn't be special summoned, this guy is the easiest special summon in the universe in this deck.
Yeah. And that's why he's good.
And then also, you can tribute a dark monster. Your opponent places one card from their hand on either the top or bottom of their deck. Which is a decently fair hand rip. Like, it is they choose and they get to put top or bottom. Like, genuinely, that means your opponent can just be like, oh, well, I drew a Garnet or something. I'll just put it back at the bottom.
It's spinning. It's spinning, but in a way that gives agency to the person being spun.
Yeah. But it's like the world's nicest hand rip. Like, yeah, you're losing a card out of your hand, but you get to put it on your top of your deck, so it's like just faded your draw for next time. Or
I think that's why Lair, while it has been good, has never been like consistently good.
Yeah.
Because while it is a general lockdown, it's sometimes also a little too nice.
It's a control deck, not a stun deck.
Yeah. And that also means though that Konami has never felt the need to like limit it.
Well, it means to me, and maybe this is just my bias as a control player, it requires a much higher level of play and commitment to make it good.
No, Dallas, so I'll agree. I will dob out stun players and speak up control players, because I talked about this. I played Labyrinth, and I played it mostly as a control-type deck of just... Yeah, there were a couple of lingering floodgates like D-Berry and Eradicator in there, but that's because they're really good. Mostly I played, like, Compulses, you know, Ghastly Glitch, you know, shit like that.
Yeah. No.
Fiend Griefing to, like...
People often say...
Build a back row full of interactions.
People often say, and this is a bigger problem in Magic than in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because Magic has more control decks. Yu-Gi-Oh! Really doesn't have a lot of control decks in it.
Magic has different kinds of control.
How is control different than stun? You're still not letting your opponent do anything. It's like, here's the difference. In a stun deck, you just play the card, and if your opponent gets out of it, they get out of it, and if they don't, they don't. In control, if you misplay, if you fuck up, if you fire a control spell off earlier or on the wrong target, you get punished hard.
Yeah, like
if I kill the wrong thing in standard in a control deck, I die.
And control in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is very similar, where like it's a case of like if you interact wrongly, you lose. Like compulsing the wrong card in Labyrinth, and you're like, that was my only back row. It's like, oh, well, you're dead now. You used the interaction at the wrong choke point. They're gonna kill you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the difference between control and stun. Stun, there is no window to be punished other than they have the out. That's the only punish. In control, the window to screw up is on the control player.
Yeah, like if you just play through interaction, you can outplay control. Actually, you said something.
Or if the control player just
I just said that like
above.
Diabolos has a human form, I guess.
Maybe
humanoid
this
form.
guy's
No,
related.
this
So
is-
this is Duke Shade, the Sinister Shadow Lord.
this is his
Kage-o
port twink.
Dukyu Shadow. So
Yeah.
Kage Shadow, as in the previous virus we looked at, Full Force. And this guy does actually work with that because he has 2,000 defense. But yeah, this is a weird anime demon lord guy. Like he's very like Dragon Quest or oh fuck, I blanked on the game that ruins friendships.
Dokapon?
Yes, Dokapon.
Let's just say Mario.
Mario Party also works, but that doesn't have Demon King in it.
with extra steps.
Dokapon will make you hate your friends.
But it like this guy's very like that. Like he's a classic JRPG Demon King type boss.
Hold on, let's see.
He's got a weird chair. He's got weird hair. Like literally, I think he's got like a mohawk or a pompadour.
This is definitely a different genre than Diabolos.
Yeah.
Here we go.
This is like a shoujo ai. Or no, that's not the right term.
No,
shoujo.
Yes. Shoujo Ai is girls' love, which this would not be in.
this would be
Definitely, if
shonen
this was
ai,
Shoujo
but-
Ai, this would be a much sexier woman. If we were talking about Doomed Yuri. But no.
We'll get
In
there.
the Fail Portrayal chat, I have posted the Dark Link from Dokapon.
Yes, no, the demon form, and then there's the actual like
Yeah.
Prince of Darkness type guy. This is definitely
Nico
that.
Jr.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely giving twink vibes. Can I say that? Is that
Yeah,
YouTube
yeah.
not like that?
We
Okay.
said that. We
Said
said
before.
We said twink many a time.
Okay, that's fair.
Ah.
I just don't want to get Omega in trouble.
Knock on wood. I do not believe I have ever been dismonetized or ad sensitive on a fail portrayal. I do not believe that has ever happened. I would have to double
I think
check.
there was one. I think there was one early, but it was an art thing, not a
Yeah,
we said the wrong thing.
And there were some videos we've done where like I think YouTube may have caught it where for swearing because Lost said the special Australian word in like the first minute, which YouTube and the Americans are much more sensitive about.
I do apologize for that one time.
Yeah,
No, it's
like
fine.
that happened like once, but no, like usually we could say quite a lot of things on YouTube and it
But
not
yeah,
be
no,
a problem in this
he's
format.
very. I like this art actually a lot because
No, it's
like,
pretty neat, and there's some cool
once
stuff.
again,
Like his shadow's
I
a
like
weird
that
hand.
I like that the Lair cards, despite not having a like defined naming convention, like they're not named an archetype,
Yeah.
but they do have a very clear design space.
And Vesper pointed out earlier, but like each of them is in Japanese anyway is called, king of something. This guy's, Kage-o, etc. They are like unified by a naming scheme, a unsearchable naming scheme, so you cannot like unify them the way they normally do with archetypes, but definitely like gives them a lot of dark cards that get out. So this is another Dark Fiend. He's level 4. He's got 500 attack and 2,000 defense, so that makes him good for the 2,000 defense one. But also, you can tribute any number of dark monsters, special summon this card from your hand. If you do, it gains 500 for each monster you tributed. So just like, if you tribute 2, he's 15. If you contribute 3, he's a 2k 4 attacker. If you contribute a full board of 5 somehow, like if you had a shitload of dark tokens, don't know where you'd get those, he's a level 4 that's 25. If this card's normal or special, you can target one level 5 or higher dark monster in your graveyard, add it back to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. You can't special summon the turn you activate either of these effects, except dark, which doesn't fucking matter. So yeah, no. This, I think, plays back to the original Structured X theme of, like, attack modulation in a funny way. Like, yeah, you have to sack a lot of monsters to make this guy worth it, but you want to tribute in this deck, you can tribute one of your opponent's cards they control. And also, on normal or special, just add back a level 5 or higher dark. Sure.
So I have a lot of fun recently building with this card because I tried a Lair of Darkness Nouvelle deck because
Oh god, that would work. Because even if you're not using the Lair effect, you're still tributing your opponent's monsters.
Look, I've already said my deck building is oftentimes too cute. That's how I lose most in draft, is I got too cute. I've been like, why didn't you just play your good card? And you did all these steps to, like, lose. I'm like,
Sorry, punch
funny.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no. This guy is kind of good. But he's definitely the most cuttable of the new Lair cards, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, you had to cut it, yeah. But, like, I feel like you could play...
Yeah.
cards, I guess.
Like, I usually play... I've never played pure Lair. I usually play Lair with something.
Well, and I will say this. I don't think you can play pure Lair because there's, like... when the Structure deck came out, there were, like, 4 new names.
It's
maybe now because they've added, like, 3 Ladies
deck.
of Lament.
It's
okay, so
fun.
it's just you play
yeah,
exactly like Darkest, Anima, Lilith, and then everything else is trap cards.
Well, maybe you play Shade too, but everything else is... Well, they played Mystic Mine at the time with... what's that card that lets you swap field spells?
Set rotation.
Set rotation, stuff
Play
like that.
Metaverse to search whatever you want mid-play.
Yeah, it's not exactly my kind of deck.
No.
Because once again, I'm a control player, I'm not a stun player.
Well, and that's the thing of, like, yes, technically there's no non-engine in that is, like, that's not, like, Lair. Lair is your primary engine. But you're not playing a pure Lair deck because you filled the gaps in that strategy with just a bunch of stun cards and Mystic Mine stuff.
No.
But I mentioned her, so let's bring her on screen. Because there are several Ladies of Lament, but the first is Lilith, Lady of Lament. Akumajo Ririsu, Demon Lady, just in... Japanese. Akumajo. But they made several Ladies of Lament later, so that becomes kind of like a mini archetype here, and is kind of critical to the archetype. Definitely, like, I feel like Lilith has the most design language in common with Diabolos. Like, Shade was cool. He was a cool guy. He had a cool shadow hand. And he kind of had the same color scheme, but he also looked very different. Lilith is still pretty close because she's got, like, a little, like, dragon-y type tail, just like him. And she's got kind of... she has the same, like, wrist guards.
It looks like she's, like, changing into a, like... She's, like... The way on her face is more of, like, a dragon turned into a person, but it was very imperfect of transformation.
Yeah, she's like mid-transforming, or she's going to reveal her final form or something. Because there's kind of like a line kind of like going down her body here where you can see kind of like her spiky demony skin.
Sorry, just talking about a dragon becoming a person, I'm just thinking about all that art that came out from that one trap card. Where it looks like the dragon becomes a girl.
Yeah. Dominus Impulse. Haven't done anything with that yet. But yeah, Lilith is a level 3 Dark Fiend who's got 2,000 attack, 0 defense. If she's normal summoned, her original attack becomes 1,000. So it's kind of the reverse of those other cards we saw earlier. But still, if she's special, she can be a 2k beater. But also, quick effect, you can tribute a dark monster, reveal 3 normal traps from your deck. Your opponent chooses 1 to set to your field. You shuffle the rest back. You can only use this effect once per turn. So not King Backjack level. You can't activate it that turn. But does have the funny effect of just, like, show your opponent 3 Compulse. Give me 1. Hey, here's 3 D-Barrier. Which one would you like me to set? You know, that kind of stuff. I think she got cut because Labyrinth finally got enough names, but, like, even without all the Dark Lair stuff, Lilith was in some early Labyrinth ruse because it's just, hey, here's 3, welcome. Here's 3 welcome, Lab. Which one would you like to give me, you know? Like, any of those cards can become an auto success in a deck if it just does what you want it to do, and
just it just needs numbers, which is a big reason why on the see so many of the Per Lily cards, it's like semi-limited, just like not because they're not because like they're all incredible and have to be put at 2, but because there's an archetype card that can reveal 3. So if we put them all to semi-limit, you can't do that. So it hurts the consistency to a decent level.
Yeah. And obviously, like, depending on things, too, you can just use Lilith to... you can show your opponent 3 different cards, and just, they all suck. Like, you know, normal traps, they're all just awful, because that you could be like, all right, D-Barrier, Daruma Karma Cannon, or, you know, Eradicator. Which one do you want to give me? Which one fucks your deck the least? Oh, you picked that one? So I'll set the other one with Backtrack. You know, that kind of shit.
So, I've always had a really weird... outlook on Lilith because she looks exactly like a DC character, minus the wings and horn.
Oh, which one?
Well, Brainiac, technically. I think it's 8 is the woman.
I mean, she has kind of a grayish skin, so blue-gray, and then
it's
got
blue-gray.
kind of like armor plating.
It's the blue skin, pink hair, double heterochromia. Slightly breaking, slightly non-human, but mostly human.
But she does have, you know, dragon horns and wings, and also has head wings. Very funny. She has back wings and head wings and little hip wings, but those could just be decorations. But there was one more virus that got printed in this one. Grinning Grave virus. Deck destruction virus of wickedness or like evilness. It's got Aku in its name. This is the one that's probably much like the new Crush card, a little too fair. It's a little weird. It does have like a little evil little guy on it, which is cool. But this is Tributed Dark Monster. Sorry, what was that, Dallas?
Sorry, much like the new Crush card to me.
Yep.
Oh, do the effect first.
Yeah. So, Tributed Dark Monster with 3,000 or less attack. Your opponent destroys one card of their choice in their hand or deck for every 500 attack that monster had on the field. If you attribute a monster with 2,000 or more attack to activate this card, look at all cards your opponent draws until the end of their 3rd turn. Destroy all monsters among them. Cards destroyed and sent to the graveyard by this card's effect cannot activate their own effect that same turn.
I do like that.
So, like, it prevents the, like, oh, you play this against Fire King, your opponent just activates everything. They still get to foolish a lot of cards from their deck.
Yeah, that's the problem, is that, like, the fact that the opponent gets to choose... this is a reverse painful choice. And there's no way to put that any other way. Like, there are some decks that this card is very good against. But most decks, it is extremely bad.
Yeah, it's that thing of like, okay, so the monster's sent to the graveyard by this effect. You know, cards destroyed and sent to graveyard. Can't do anything.
Like, this is nicher than Full Force, in my opinion.
Probably. Like, it does have the one version of the effect that I thought would like be interesting of like, it has to be 2k or more attack, but then you get to destroy all cards your opponent controls that are just monsters, period. Like, that's interesting. That's neat. And they can't activate their effects.
You know what it honestly should have been? It should have been simpler. And I think this card would still be fair. Just knock off the above 3,000 part, and just let you choose instead of your opponent.
Yeah, just 3,000 attack, period.
No hand interaction, but just you get to look through your opponent's deck and blow up 5 cards off your choice.
And, like, because you shuffle after doing that, deck knowledge is not as important as hand knowledge.
Especially when we're playing with open deck lists. Like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Does that, right? Does Yu-Gi-Oh! Do open deck lists?
I think it depends on the
How do you
event.
mean?
Like in tournament, can you look at opponent's deck list?
No.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't think you can do it in the event right away.
Well, no, sorry, I don't. When I say that, between games you can look at their deck list. You can't look at it during the game.
Nothing about it is like
Okay, got
is
it.
like made public.
Until afterward. Okay,
Yeah.
Even then, it's one of those things of like, would
but at a high
you're
level,
already
this
you're
is not
already
a thing.
playing the game against them by the time you could activate this card to look at their deck and destroy. That could definitely be interesting, and maybe they could print a new virus that does do that.
But no,
and it would
the
probably
fact
still
that
be
it's your
okay.
opponent's choice, this card is just bad. Like it's just bad.
Because it's like genuinely, I think that is the downside. The upside is you tribute a monster with 2k or more attack, so you can blow up every monster your opponent draws. But that means they get to blow up and foolish burial, 4 monsters. Yes, they can't activate their effects
is
in the
not worth
same
it.
turn, but still.
No, isn't it cards, not monsters?
Oh yeah, no, you're right. It's card period.
Yeah,
so
no,
it's
it's
just
cards.
it is like you said, painful choice. So it's also spell cards.
Yeah, no, it's so bad. Like this card is unplayable against 99% of Yu-Gi-Oh!
And I think most people correctly guessed it as that when it got printed in the structure deck.
Yeah.
Unlike a lot of the others, it was reprinted this year only as a common in a tournament pack. Like that's how low the demand on this card is.
The effect is cute, but yeah, it's just too bad.
No, just because to get the real effect to destroy monsters your opponent draws every turn.
Like it's technically an acceptable side deck card if there was some Yu-Gi-Oh deck in the meta where their graveyard is like not a factor. Like I'm trying to think, if they activated this against DDD, while there are some good sends in modern DDD, this wouldn't be like you wouldn't lose the game off of activating this. And potentially the monster destruction on hand could be worth it. Because I could dump a bunch of oh no, it's a destroy effect. Never mind. No, I would instantly win in DDD because I could blow up the field spell. Yeah, no, this is awful.
A new lady is at the board.
Yes, sorry, I pulled up Malice, Lady of Lament. I just had to turn on my mic for a second because I had to kill a spider in my room. Guy crawled in through my door jamb. Anyway, so yeah, this is just Lady of Lament is just how they translate Demon Lady.
Which I think works.
Malice.
Yeah, I actually think it's better personally.
I do think that if I remember rightly, I think when this card was like revealed back in the day, because this was Eternity Codes. This was 2020. I think there was some question of like on like EDO Pro and like YGO org should she be like Marisa or something. Marisu Malice works fine. So this is another Diok Fiend, level 3. She's 1k 1k. We are still keeping the kind of design language from the previous ones. The armored look, the bodysuit look. Definitely like. This looks less like a transformation and much more like she's just like that. She just has a Diabolos eye.
Yeah.
I do like that her horns are different too.
She looks a lot less in pain than Lilith.
Yeah. And I think also though you can tell that clearly like that's just the like edging on her armor. So her like normal skin is probably just that spiky gray stuff. And then she's wearing a chest plate where she's got eyes on her nips, because she's got a mouth on her midriff.
Yep.
It is a style choice. But this is
Japan.
another level 3 1k 1k. Quick effect: tribute 2 monsters. Target one of your normal traps. It's banished from your graveyard. Set it. Put it on the bottom of the deck when it leaves the field. You can use this effect once per turn. Just to like build more of these demon ladies. Perfectly fine effect. It is tribute 2, but obviously if you're actually playing Lair of Darkness, 1, you may be generating tokens to like get tribute fodder, but also you plus off it anyway. Your monsters get replaced in the end phase, kind of a thing. That's another thing that like we forgot to mention with the field spell. Lair of Darkness is also very annoying to play because it just creates extra bodies. So like,
Oh yeah,
your opponent just has a shitload of tokens that you have to either punch through or waste removal on vanilla tokens.
Yeah, the tokens are honestly kind of usually the worst part because they're just tokens that sit on the board and can't do anything.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's the reason pure Lair doesn't really work. You need a deck that wants your opponent to have useless meat on the field. Hence why I decided to do the burger deck with it.
Yeah. So I think Malice's cost of like 2 monsters is a little high, but getting a trap back that's banished in your graveyard and then being like, oh, as a negative, shuffle it back. No, we love that shit. That's like, honestly, I don't think I have the deck space for it in Modern Labyrinth, but like, again, a couple of the Ladies of Lament saw some play in some early Labyrinth brews before they got a couple extra names to fill out, but like, being able to return like big welcomes and then shuffle that shit back, perfectly fine. You know,
I think she's okay, but unless you're playing Lair of Darkness specifically and you contribute your opponent's monsters, I don't think she's good.
Yeah, I think that is actually like the one thing that I will say for like Labyrinth also is that like those cards are such that like your monsters are so disposable in that deck. Like you need them to like pitch them for hand or like they're on summon effects. But you get all your furniture back anyway every time you do anything with normal traps, so just sending them to graveyard doesn't matter. But yeah, definitely in other decks it hurts them a little.
Lilith is definitely much more splashable.
Yeah, because obviously she can just... At worst, she's a normal summon that you tribute herself as a quick effect, show 3, set a trap, you know? If you can actually be specialing her, you can do other things.
Yeah.
Next is Alice, Lady of Lament, or Akomaju Arisu.
I did not know there was another one.
Oh, there's 2 more, actually. They've kept us supporting this. They've given us, like, one every couple of years.
Oh, no, I think I do know. I have seen Alice before.
Yeah. Card design-wise, Alice is interesting because, like, I feel like her design is more restrained.
It is and it isn't.
Because, like,
I think
she
this
does
one
have, like,
looks
a
like
creepy
the
scar
most
and a creepy eyeball.
in pain.
But she's also got, like, her normal smug anime eye. I also think that this clearly makes her weird hat thing with the wings look more like cat ears as well. Like her helmet vents for the wings. But otherwise, she's just kind of chilling. She doesn't have spike knees. She has Konami orbs for knees instead. It is funny to see that there's, like, the legion of 1,000, you know, nondescript Yu-Gi-Oh! Monsters behind her. Like, there's just a bunch of, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Monster-ass silhouettes back there. Like, there's one guy who's a weird dragon. There's a weird, like, guy with, like, elf ears who's probably a vampire or a ghoul. There's a Cyclops guy back there.
They're just guys. They're just dudes.
Clearly, Lair of Darkness is Panic's archetype.
God, if only. Castle of Dark Illusions, Realm of Yamimakai retrain. Come on, Konami. You're running out of fucking of specifically Duelist Kingdom retrains to do. You know that Duelist Kingdom and Battle City were the seasons that everybody watched.
Eventually, we'll have to get to it. Eventually.
No, Omega. You know what I want first, because it's the one retrain they haven't done from Duel Monsters that I've always wanted.
Which one?
Fucking retrain Valkyries. Please.
I mean,
they have cards already though.
They did not retrain
But,
Valkyries, but they like printed all of them in like the year 2016. They like exist.
But like make them good or usable.
They could do some new
would be
Valkyries.
fine.
I thought, Dallas, what you might say was another thing that people are very popular with. Masked Beast is another one that, like, most of those cards are dog shit,
If
but
you're gonna,
like
if you're gonna go for DM, then yeah, the
like
mask.
has like a good one.
I don't know. Mask of Restrict was good.
Yeah, no, Mask of Restrict was good, and I think even like some of the other burn masks were like useful, but like there's
Mask
a
of
couple of
Recursive
weird
wasn't
vanillas. There's the ritual spell like and guy that's bad, but it like forks
The
into
mask
the other
retrades would be
big
good.
guy, like giving you some new guys.
From GX, what I want to retrain for that they haven't
Okay.
already. I mean, I want the Arcana Force to retrain the most, but
I mean, again, Arcana Force is like I don't know if they've retrained, but they've printed new cards in the past couple of years that like do a few things.
They are steadily filling out the rest of the Arcana deck, basically.
They've actually printed the
like-
devil physically and all that stuff.
yeah, I guess.
They made the Chaos Ruler to like fuse light and dark rulers together, so it's not just World FTK. There's a couple different things. Anyway, Alice does some stuff. She's got 0 attack, 2,000 defense. By the way, all of these are level 3 Dark Fiends, unless I say otherwise. When this card is normal summoned, target a Lady of Lament in your graveyard, special summon it. You use each of the following effects once per turn. Banish a trap from your hand or graveyard, special summon this card from your hand. If this card's tributed, or if this card in its owner possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, add a Fiend whose combined attack and defense equals 2,000 from your deck to your hand, except Alice. So obviously that works for the other Ladies of Lament. I think the primary problem with Alice is just Lady of Lament isn't a deck.
Yeah.
Malice and Lilith like enable some stuff with normal traps, but they're still just like splashable tech cards. Alice obviously gives you a reason to play more of them together because she like revives them from your graveyard, and then obviously if you tribute her for Lilith or Malice's effect, you then get to add another one. She lets you special herself for free as well if you already used your normal to just give you more bodies on field. It's neat, but it still doesn't do enough. Like, they're not trying hard enough to make Akumajo a deck. And even though there is a fourth, they're still not quite enough.
There you go.
But it's still the kind of thing where, like, they've already made this an archetype because, they've named it as, special summon a Lady of Lament from your graveyard kind of a thing.
Yeah. I think the problem is, at this point, this deck, the Lady of Lament part of the deck, does kind of feel like bootleg Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Was made well before it, but it's kind of just become that because they didn't have like hard
Yes.
focused into it.
So the final one in this setup is Loris, the Lady of Lament, Akumajo Rorisu. I
I'm
think
sorry,
there was
Loris?
something. Yes, Loris.
That's not a name.
I mean, it is actually. Ever heard of a slow Loris?
That's... Being an animal does not make you a name. I'm not just gonna name my child Chimpanzee.
I mean, is Diabolos a name, Dallas?
Yes, it's Spanish for the devil.
Is
don't think
man
that's a name.
Or
a
Italian.
Several Romance languages use Diabolos. Actually, no, Italian I think is
Okay.
Diavolos.
What the fuck is this?
It's Diabolo.
This is
How did a child be a demon?
This is a
Loris,
child.
Lady of Lament.
That is a whole child.
I mean, I think this works. You can even tell her design is like simplified. Like she has a weird little hook instead of the poison stinger.
It does work because this is very much imp design.
Well, and I want
Like,
to
she's
say,
an imp.
this is the kind of thing where like you run into like the 3 big demon sisters, and then you run into like their littlest sister. Like it works. And I will make no further comment on the fact that some translators tried to convince people that this was going to be called Lollies.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my
No,
god.
the forced rating has always been Loris. but it is Rorisu, so...
I know, but just Japan... anime culture makes me sad.
It's a crying emoji here.
Like I said, the
Jesus
reading should
Christ.
always be Loris, but it is Roris. And also, I mean, to be generous to Japan, Japan is also one of the major settings for EGL, Elegant Gothic Lolita fashion, which doesn't really have anything to do with the other subculture thing.
Counterpoint, though, I will say this, and this is for Japan and America, that I'm going to dunk on, so this is not just Japan. I don't think there has been a more misinterpreted book than Lolita. I really
This is
don't.
also true, genuinely. People don't... They took the name Lolita from the book to, like, apply to things, and they really... The media
Well, no,
literacy,
just
man.
the book in general. Just the book itself. People are like, oh, it's a romance story. It's like, it's a horror story. It's genuinely, the entire book is like, this person is an utter piece of garbage. And some people are like, no, it's romantic. It's like,
That's
want
a
to
problem
hurt you
lots of
with
people
a hammer.
have. I don't know anything about well, I don't know much about the TV show version of The Boys, but there are people who fail so bad at media literacy they like try and rep Homelander, who is kind of the like jerk ass Superman Captain America hodgepodge. I haven't watched the show, and I know that guy's not a role model.
He's a man-child.
I mean, it at least, like, it at least makes somewhat sense in the first, like, season and a half. Where, like, he's a dick, but he's not, like, by season 2, that's just, like, I don't understand anymore.
Sorry, I was muted. Oh, deafened. What are we talking about?
We were talking
The
about The
Boys.
Boys briefly, like talking about people's bad media literacy.
Yeah, okay.
Like repping
Bad
for
media
like
literacy
Homelander
is-
and shit, and it's like,
But, like,
yeah, I know.
the problem is with Lolita specifically, is this is a problem with people who are otherwise, like, really respected. And they're just like, no, this is a romance story. Like, this is romantic. It's like, this is a child.
Some
This
people
is literally
do
a child.
bad, dumb things in stories that you're not supposed to emulate, no
No,
matter
no,
how vaguely sympathetic or emotional you think their POV is.
He's not being written sympathetically.
No, I
Like,
don't
he's
think he
being
is.
written pathetically. Like, while the entire
yeah.
story is from his point of view, you are supposed to laugh at him.
I've got
But
a
yeah.
good reaction for this.
I don't know.
It's
Sorry.
also funny though talking about Loris. She's obviously like the smallest one. She has like the second highest attack because she, Alice established kind of the formula is cumulative, like their total stats equal 2,000. So she's 1,500 attack, 500 defense. Is how they figured that out. That does mean, by the way, there's another combo we can do. We've got room for a 500 attack, 1,500 defense one. We can add a fifth sister.
No, the mother. Do it.
That'd be great.
Yes,
Also, by the way,
unironically.
her promo art, like the concept art that was released for this, says that you can see in this art that she has 2 green eyes. She's just faking. She also has the one red eye. It's just she's using magic or contact to cover it up.
Oh no, even better. Give me like an old wizened crone.
Give me
Oh, yeah,
give
like,
me-
Not
give me
even
Murder
a
Baba.
beautiful woman. Just,
Yeah.
just
Rainy.
old woman.
Like my
Bubba Bubba.
But
favorite.
still
Like
rocking the same outfit.
there is there is a criticism to be had of Araki's like drawing of women sometimes, but I just love that sometimes he just draws like the most fucked up looking people, and I love
Men
it.
and women. It's
Oda
truly
too.
universal in
Like-
JoJo.
Like yes, they do have a tendency of being very attractive, much like Western comics have the like everyone is a supermodel deal with it. But sometimes there's just these people that you look at and just go, ugh, what the hell?
I think there are some shots to be taken at like character designs and like profiles and background writings and like what we claim characters' ages are in One Piece, but the West likes to take that as a cheap shot and misinterpret it, not as like, oh, that's a weird fucked up thing.
Realize we literally do the same thing in Western
We also
comics.
do that a lot, but no, it's in Japanese comics, it's absolutely a demographics thing. There's a shitload of weird 15-year-olds who don't look 15 in anime because the artist doesn't want to draw them as 15 years old. That's just what the editors say the demographics are. It's just like, it's there's a reason why this manga is like the most popular thing in the world. It's because it starts, aims at its lowest common denominator demographic of kids, and then we work our way upwards. So, that's, like I said, I know a lot of Western people who take a lot of pot shots at that, but, like...
And there's reason to take pot shots, but just recognize it's not a problem. Unlike certain things where I do call out specifically Japan, this is not a Japan issue. This is a standards of beauty issue in the world,
and a media like just general media consumption thing. But yeah, you talk about like Iraqi designs. I'm like, yeah, Enya was a funny
Oda, like
character.
Just sometimes I love it when people just look like so unique that you're just like, what the hell am I looking at?
So Loris's effect to end. This is our final card of the night. Because this card was printed in Power of the Elements in the year 2022.
Oh, Pote.
I haven't heard of Pote in forever.
Another great...
I've heard a long time.
Pote the set that keeps on giving, because it's like, oh yeah, that was, sprites and Tearlaments in the same set, but also had 4,000 legacy supports. Which are all good. Jesus Christ, Ashura King's that new? Sorry, that's a rank 3 I played when I built Goblinos, Goblin Riders in Master Duel. Great rank 3, by the way. Ashura King.
Yeah. I'm not surprised.
But no, like...
But Yu-Gi-Oh! This has always been a problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic as a card game. Sometimes there are these really cool, unique cards that just are like right under the meta, so no one ever plays them.
Pote is an infamous set for that, because I think almost every card in Power of the Elements was a banger. The problem was that it very specifically exactly brought the majority, the bulk of the cards to Tearlament and Sprite. So it was kind of a weird case of like, these are good, but like, are they Sprite or Tearlament's good?
No.
And I will say this, Loris is not that. Loris's effect is you can target 3 or 6 normal traps that are banished in your graveyard, put them on the bottom of your deck in any order, draw 1 for each 3 cards placed, so she's like a reverse Prospy.
It reminds me a lot of Wilds of Eldraine, where it's like, there's this really cool design space and really cool cards, and unfortunately it broke the meta in half, so that's all people ever remember it as.
Loris's other effect is if another monster is tributed or if a normal trap is sent to your graveyard by an opponent's card effect, except for the damage step, target a normal trap in your graveyard, set it. You can use each effect once per turn. So, like, giving, like, trap decks a draw engine that also restocks your cards at the bottom of your deck and, like, letting you reset your normal traps if your opponent gets rid of them, that's useful. The problem is still that, like I said, Lady of Lament on its own doesn't do enough as a deck type, and now it's starting to compete for space with, like, the cards you would play naturally in Lair of Darkness, but also now there's, like, 4 of them, so that's too many names to put in Labyrinth, which is absolutely meant to be, like, a full deck.
Yeah.
So, like, it kind of puts the Lady of Lament on this weird space of, like, okay, these are clearly supposed to work with virus trap cards. Like, they work with tributed monsters and they work with normal traps. The problem is that there's not enough of them to run them as their own deck, but there's also too many of them to run them as, like, a little package inside another deck based around viruses.
Yeah, it's one of those problems, like, unfortunately, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a lot of, because it's an eternal format, it has a lot of support cards for every archetype. So deck space can get a bit cluttered sometimes.
And, like, obviously, like sometimes that doesn't matter because like we said, you don't play old Diabolos in any deck actually.
No,
But
God no.
so they took his theme and they retrained him and they just made him better. That happens plenty of times. And honestly, like I've said, I think that like that's, I guess I should phrase it as that's Yu-Gi-Oh's blessing and curse being kind of like an eternal format is like, yes, that means that like there's usually a little bit of power creep. That tends to happen just with game design in general is like the game designers get more comfortable and realize they can do more powerful things.
Yeah. No, power creep is always a thing. The problem is there's no power. I can't remember the actual term, so I'm just gonna call it uncreep.
Yeah, there's the resetting of the format happens usually if Konami goes for like big ban lists. But honestly, I think as like the years go on, they do less big ban lists because it just like as they release new cards, it just becomes less popular to play old cards. Like, not even necessarily, you know, every single card has to be more powerful than every previous card. That's something I've heard, I think, MBT say about, like, you know, pack filler. He's like, why are these cards being printed? They suck. Well, when we import, like, V-Jump promos and other weird shit, they're not actually meant to be every single card needs to be better than every previous card. Like,
Yeah, no.
that's how you get runaway power creep. You put shitters in decks because they're there for collectors or completion, or maybe they have like a fringe case.
What I will say is yes, no, that is to me the goal of all pack filler. Pack filler should never be out and out terrible, in my opinion. It should never be like this card is completely unusable. It should always be weird, bizarro, niche bullshit.
There are rarely cases in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where they do like print cards that are just like completely dead and probably will never be good.
I would actually say Yu-Gi-Oh! Say Yu-Gi-Oh! Is better at it than Yu-Gi-Oh! Is better at it than Magic. I would argue. Like Magic prints way more cards that are like this card is just bad than Yu-Gi-Oh! Does.
Like, like usually when that happens to Yu-Gi-Oh! It's because it is like a V-Jump promo. Like, it's because they are importing a card that they have to add because otherwise we have that problem of like, yeah, they've never printed Shuttleroid in the TCG. Weird. So, you know, they like, they go through that thing and it's like, the card is because it references like something that's like in an anime or manga archetype, and like, yeah, they're bad because it's a manga card from when the manga was printed like 10 years ago, you know, but they still print manga promos in Japan, so they got to come up with something. It's a completely different kind of like, you know, filler archetype. But then you get shit like, to talk about this a little, and I should say, because they've finally translated the very valuable book on it, we gotta do Fiendsmith sometime. Because guess what, guys? The Fiendsmith lore is just Diet Devil May Cry.
It really
you didn't
is,
think
and
that
I
you
love
could. You didn't think that they could make Devil May Cry, which already doesn't have like a hugely like deep lore, even more dirt simple. They've done it. That's Fiendsmith. It's because there's no Virgil is the problem. This is actually genuinely a problem I want to say with like Yu-Gi-Oh! Lore is. They used to be better about giving, like, opposing factions, and they just don't do that anymore.
They're more like fucking promos. Some of your archetypes are less like actual like anime narratives and more just like a trailer to an anime.
I do have to ask the real question though, which is when does the Greensmith show up?
Oh, when you go play Unglued.
Okay.
Damn, actually,
I was to make an unglued equivalent.
I gotta take my hat off to you, Axe. That was fast.
You were on that shit.
I had that one in my spine for years.
I just like
Why the spine?
He's been sorting it out. Like, I was just gonna joke that like I would just green shift a Fiendsmith card art and post it in the in the fail portrayal. But like, this is a card that is pack filler.
Oh, that'd be so
I
fun.
fucking love Unglued. It's so stupid.
Look at this little fuck.
Yeah, Peeps and Luke Von Karma, Peeps Yu-Gi-Oh! and Danny have a like fan-made unglued equivalent where they fuck around and find out, but an official
It's
format
like Yu-Gi-Oh!
Very
Already
goofy.
prints cards that I look at and go, How is this card not an unglued card? Like,
Okay,
Super
like-
Dice Game
Okay,
is
when I
an
say-
unglued
okay,
card.
Listen, when I say unglued, I'm literally referring to a series they make, not actually unsets.
But I
Okay,
mean,
that's
they
fine, but
named
the
it
first
after the Magic
unset
set.
The first unset is unglued.
Oh, fair enough.
But like,
So here's my first thought seeing this little fuck.
this is Dippity, which name is
Oh,
just
right.
Pity in Japanese.
I love
So
Dippity.
this is arguably pack filler. This is an unassociated card that's just in a set. Just came out in the latest one, Alliance
But
Insight.
what if it was a
It's-
tier 1 meta threat?
It's gonna be a thing like in like 5 years from now, like other cards are like that.
Oh no, this card's meta right now, Axe.
No, this card is meta.
Oh, okay,
Because
explain.
this is a light fiend level 4/0/0, so you can
You're right.
unexpected die it. You can
It's
search
so
it.
good.
Oh my
can
god, you're
search it
right.
off
It is,
of,
literally- it is the perfect bridge card, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
No,
4,
the
so you can
fact
play it
that
in Ryziel. It's
does
a light
it-
fiend, so you
yeah,
can play it in
it's-
Fiendsmith.
It's a 0/0 fiend, so you can search it off the Uvel field spell.
Yeah.
Because, fun fact, I run the Uvel field spell in DDD because it searches Kepler.
Yeah, no, like, and this is like what weird Yu-Gi-Oh! One-off designs are like, where they're just like,
Yes.
yeah, let's just print a weird vanilla guy.
Like, I would say early Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a bit different. Modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Has way less cards that are actively, like,
Bad.
zero use cases, even in a limited environment, than Magic does. Like, Magic still prints cards that are like, you would never play this in anything ever.
Okay, now so I have a kind of random question for you.
Sure.
If the DDD Link 3 didn't do anything, would it still be used? Would it still be played?
Probably.
Is it just because Link 3 is that
it-
good for like how they scale?
Well,
around?
I think if it did nothing, no, because DDD is still like ridiculously tight for extra deck space.
Fair. I just
like,
remember people.
to
I
the
just
point
remember
where
people talking about
most
like,
DDD
if-
decks
Yeah, Link
run-
3, they could do actual cold fusion.
No, it would have to do something. It definitely would not have had to be as good as it is, but it would have to do something beneficial because, once again, extra deck space is tight. Like, I only run one non-archetype extra deck monster in DDD, and it's the Typhoon Dickhead. The other Zeus. The new Zeus card that is
Typhon.
Dark. Typhon. That's a thing. Yeah, that's the only non-DDD
Ah,
extra
yes,
deck card I run.
the card where you lose the game.
Well, that's if you don't read.
Well, yeah, no, it's just that, like, so many people summon Typhon when they really fucking shouldn't. Don't do that. Read, understand what Typhon does.
No, Typhon is very uniquely good in DDD. I'll say that. It fits a very good niche in DDD. But I can, yeah,
I'm
that
just
card gets a
thinking,
lot of
we've
people
got-
killed.
We got the big Max, Typhon, Zeus. What's next?
I mean, they showed
Well,
the
Typhon
names
and
they
Zeus in a
use.
fucking.
Indra would be a good one because I always think that's a kick-ass mech name.
Era.
Just like the form, like the Firestorm Indra or some bullshit.
Hera,
I
but
don't
it's
know.
not. It's not a mech. It's a space station with like a giant space cannon.
Kind of surprised they didn't immediately go to Athena because Japan loves Athena.
If we're gonna go Hebrew, I would suggest Leviathan.
However,
Combine Poseidon and
thanks to-
Leviathan, make a fucking mech sub.
thanks to
No.
fucking some Yu-Gi-Oh jokes, I can only imagine Melfi's piloting this giant Max.
Make a mobile mech platform like oil rig / marine base.
Yeah, there's a lot of funny stuff you can do, but yeah, we need to talk about Fiendsmith sometime and
Make a Dyson Spear called Gaia.
ooh, that'd be cool.
That already exists though.
I mean, we have a couple Dyson spheres, but you could
Yu-Gi-Oh!
call
Dyson Sphere exists. It's
You
called
could-
Dyson Sphere.
you could still call it Gaia and make it like an artificial moon or something. But also like talking about like how the TCG's been pretty good lately. Like Mitsurugi is like they made a reptile ritual archetype that's world
I'm so
premiere and
happy.
is good. I mean,
I'm
it's
so
it's
happy.
very Japanese influenced, obviously still, which is probably why it's good
I
because
don't
it'll sell in
care.
Japan too. But it's cool and I like it.
The fact that there's a good ritual archetype, or not ritual, there have been good ritual archetypes. There's a good reptile archetype finally. That's
Yeah,
the one that hasn't
use
landed.
use all the good reptile cards in it too.
Oh yeah, no,
Probably
like you
not.
can. I mean,
Well,
you can actually like you can play like it's suboptimal because the optimal part of the engine is like you backdoor Fiendsmith or Ryziel, but you can just play Ogdoadic and other like snake good stuff in Mitsurugi. Like,
Or you can
it
play
works.
Ragnarika.
Oh, wait.
Ragnarok is also
Goes into
pretty.
the
I
wrong
mean,
chat.
actually, I built Aroma Ragnarika when the new Aroma stuff came to Master Duel. Ragnarika's a
Nice.
sick engine. Like,
Ragnarika is so cool.
we should also talk about that sometime. Like, because that's the reptile, insect, plant tri-type. That's a really cool deck to like base around. That
Yeah,
has like
I
real
hope they do
payoff.
more of those. Yeah, like it's actually a legit deck.
So
Yeah.
next week, should we say what we're doing next week? Or let's first check out things.
We should be doing Final Fantasy. We should that should be a run out then. We should get started on that. I don't know how
Oh,
long
God,
it'll take
that-
us to look at a lot of stuff, but
It's gonna have to be
yeah.
multiple episodes. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, no. There are 4 precons.
4
All of them-
precons
All of them
and
have
entire
at least
standard
like
set.
all of
They're
them have
about
at least
40
like,
cards.
Yes,
About
yeah.
new. And if we want to discuss alternate arts, then you need to do the whole 70 because they're new
I mean,
Final
like-
Fantasy arts.
honestly, my plan is probably just to pull up the like library they have online and just start grabbing card art thumbnails and throwing them in paint on the stream.
I have a. Hold on, hold on. Let me just quickly get you this because
and I guess we'll
at
talk
least for
about.
I think we should start with the commander decks because it's easier. Because
That's probably a good format to,
It's
like,
literally
just
breaking
start
down
with our
game by
brain.
game. Well,
Yeah.
it's broken down like one is a Final Fantasy 6 deck, one is a Final Fantasy 7 deck, one's a Final Fantasy 10 deck, and one's a Final Fantasy 14 deck.
Yeah.
And each deck has a very specialized design implement. There's one that's
Yeah.
like +1/+1 counters. One is a mill. One is a self mill deck.
This is what I would
one
recommend,
is-
Omega.
One is like equipment, which is they're noble knights. Noble knights like equip spells and shit.
I
Yeah,
would say
and the last
in
one-
yeah.
Is the spell slinging. Like I'm just gonna play 5 spells on my turn, and
Yeah.
some stuff's gonna happen.
It's counters matter, equipment matters, spell slinger, and legendary matters is the 6-1.
Yeah, but legendary is also in the spell slinging one though. Fair.
But the 6 is just legendary matters. That's the only theme in it. Is all the decks are filled with legendaries, but like 6 is you have to be playing legendaries. It's why I could argue if you look at these out of the box, I think 6 is the easiest, is the best out of the box, because the fact that I had to stuff all the decks with legendaries made some of the design space for the other ones a bit difficult. But because 16 was legendaries already, it went a lot smoother.
Yeah, I played the Titus one.
Oh god, that deck is.
The Titus one was very fun to play. I ended
The
up
Titus
with
one-
I ended up with like a 25 Chasm Segover that exploded into
Yeah.
a billion little squids.
The Titus one is probably the strongest deck once you upgrade it, because counters has a lot of bullshit in it. Although the Cloud one can also be kind of good, especially if you stop playing Cloud and play Tifa instead. Yeah, I'll talk about which of the face commanders are better and which of the old commanders are better, because it's interesting. And which are more interesting. Spoiler, my favorite commander from all of them is probably Ishtola, if I had to pick
Mine
one.
Baha, honestly. So
Of
we're
the face
the
commanders?
same deck. He's the alt one for your Stola.
He's cool, but he's just not that unique. Ironically, Ishtola is very unique for the colors that she's in.
I guess that's true. I don't know like the
Uh,
full breadth space though.
Well, Spellslinger is mostly blue-red, generally.
All I know is I saw the funny image edit of fucking Walker to that his was it creature class was Grand Wizard.
God. Oh no.
Super
But yeah,
racist.
we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
God.
I also
What
want
deck
to.
would
I
be
do want to say
easiest
that's the
to
thing I do like
explain?
about the Magic stuff. Also, is like, Magic has always had a lot of fun because they have multiple kind of like creature subtypes, so they get to do a lot of very funny things in Final Fantasy.
Just make up
like
new ones.
they make up new ones, but also they use classic ones. Like just Ystrola is just I think cat wizard.
Yeah. Those are both established
she's
archetypes.
a cat lady. All
Alice and Alphino are elf wizards.
Yes, because all Elezen are just elf.
Yep. Because I mean they are.
I mean, yes, it's true, but like it's a good playthrough because that means that you can
I'm just
unify
happy-
across games.
Gavin made a very big deal that he wanted to make sure you could suplex the Phantom Train.
So happy Suplex is a card.
well, like
I'm
he
sad
really,
that
he
they didn't
really
do
made
this
it so you could do it on the train.
Yep. You must suplex.
a lot of fun stuff.
They care a lot. Like that's what I'm saying. Like
a lot.
I don't think Hasbro. Like someone brought this up in chat. I don't think Hasbro cares. But Wizards has had people at the company that care, and because they've maintained profitability, Hasbro has not been stupid enough to fire them.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
But that's our plans for the next probably couple of weeks. I do want to say to talk about like formatting stuff. So some of you may have noticed, and some of you may not have noticed, but I didn't run like a special Fail Portrayal poll on Patreon last month. Just constantly checking in with these guys to like put new shit in every month is tiresome sometimes.
People voted for Gimmick Puppet yet?
No, they still haven't voted for Gimmick Puppet, Dallas.
Okay, that's
Try it
still my
for
vote.
months. I know. It's I've had it on there for you for a while.
Gimmick Puppet
I
there.
wanted to propose to both the group and listeners at home because like I would these videos do pretty decently. Like the view count on the last one was really good. The
This one
Dark Lord one
especially
was
if we
like
did it-
extra high.
Not to be very cynical, but if we do the Final Fantasy one this coming Tuesday, I think it should do pretty well.
Yeah, I
Considering
expect those will do pretty good as
oh,
well.
Aligns with the set release.
Yeah, because I'm going to the pre-release this Friday.
Yeah,
Going to
like,
3 pre-releases this weekend. It's $150.
I think they will work out a little, but like so like I would like some Patreon integration. Hey, Chad, in case you don't know, fucking like Monday after this weekend, the Saber Medusa banner is coming. Hi. So like I would love fiscal support. Especially if at the State of Play tomorrow they're going to announce either a Final Fantasy Tactics sequel or remake or something again. That's the rumor that's going around right now.
Money is being physically taken out of Lega's wallet.
Yeah. It's like that Steam sale GIF I really like, where the wallet sucks to the computer's intake fan. Like, so I'd love more Patreon integration, but like I said, the poll for a specific topic is there. So you guys let me know if you would like that to still be it, where just like I have the guys feed me an archetype they'd like to do just that's unthemed and pick, or if you Chad at home would like to pick the cubes for like and commit to like Cuban once a month.
I wouldn't mind that.
I just can't. I might just not be able to do Tuesdays all the time.
Yeah, I know you've got scheduled stuff, but that won't be forever, I think.
Yeah. I would probably be able to do most days
I think I'm
in
starting
the
it next week.
evenings.
But we'll see.
But so
Just
like
afternoons
you
and
guys
mornings
let
would
me
be
know
hard.
now, and I will do that. And
Yeah.
since I could probably at least while I'm gathering data from the audience, I can at least throw out another monthly Patreon poll that will have archetypes on it, so that Dallas can put Gimmick Puppet. I can put Hieratic back on there because I don't think we've done that one.
We're gonna put the best. We're gonna put the worst of the worst that never got any votes, and you will be forced to pick one of them.
You
Actually,
will pick
I
one.
could genuinely do that because Patreon sorts by like poll types, and I think I have all the Fail Portrayal polls like tagged. I could just look at my entire history of posting them and find the ones that you guys
got
didn't
any
pick.
votes.
Yeah, I can do that, Chad. Maybe
The
I will
worst
do that this
sacrifice.
month. I'll do that. We'll do a best of the worst this month.
What are the-
Support the studio. Make a
done?
patron at 5.
I know we haven't done Gimmick Puppets.
Okay,
I
besides
mean, we'll
them,
just we'll be done like when we genuinely run out of stuff. Like we're getting pretty close on the structure decks to like modern stuff, but still got like several years of them to go through. There's a lot of famous like anime DM era stuff we still haven't done.
Did we do Chronomalies?
Did we do current anomalies? I don't think we did.
I don't.
I swear we
maybe?
did.
I swear we've done something.
If
Talked
Mark's still
about
watching,
them, but I don't
he'll
know
know.
if we did them.
Moth.
If he's listening, he'll know. He's
just
pretty
thinking of
good at either
Zexal
remembering or
archetype.
just searching.
I'm just thinking of Zexal
Sorry, just
archetypes.
calling for
'cause-
moth like
Gods?
what was it? Some people call for mods or gods. Yeah, thank you.
God, we could do sharks sometime. That'd be like a
Sharks.
bajillion
Right,
cards,
right,
but would still be interesting.
That's just 4 hours. If we
I
actually
don't
were on the ball
actually
about
know
it.
though, because like some of it will just be like, yeah, it's a shark with a gun, or it's a
Okay,
shark.
yes,
It's also
but there's
a
enough
sword.
shark cards that like will take us time if we actually like don't.
You know,
fast
some of the
forward.
art, like spoilers. I played Duel Links. I'm sorry.
You still play it?
Some of the shark art is fucking weird.
It is.
Like, look up. Oh god, what's that card that's in the shark deck? That's like, the hell is this a shark? It's like, and also I love talking about actual sharks, so I will just talk about them. I think it's called like Gazer Shark. That card looks fucking weird.
Geyser or is it Geyser Shark?
Gazer Shark. Gazer.
Gazer, as in like the eyeball monster.
This is
Yeah.
just this is just a guy. It's just a little guy.
But he's very weird.
And this
love
chat
it.
is like this is like the thing that Fail Portrayal has become. Like we get to jaw about Yu-Gi-Oh history and strategy and like deck building theory, but also I love the ability to like grab a circle of my friends, pull up a card art, slap it on screen, and be like, hey, here's this card, and have people go, I've never heard of this card before in my entire fucking life, and I'd be like, this card is 15 years old. It was printed 9 times.
No one
It
paid
was in
for
every
it.
set
Yeah.
you've ever opened.
You actually own 4 of these in your bulk right now.
You
My
have put
book
the
died,
deck
my book
before.
died in the trash fire of like 2019.
I actually put one in your back pocket earlier. Oh my god, it's right there.
You think, oh
How do you
god,
do that, David
what-
Like, I
Blaine?
didn't see you like a grenade.
Hold on. I wanna look this up.
Blaine.
I wanna look something up.
So yes, the fail, the portrayal, we have fun here. I'm gonna wind the stream down. But yeah,
So, can you guess what the most? I'll disqualify Soul Ring because,
Oh, fuck.
yeah. What is the most printed card in Magic?
Command Tower.
No, it's not.
Damn.
Is it does not do lands not count?
Oh wait,
Lands do not count.
lightning
God,
bolt.
no.
I
No.
gotta say, wouldn't it
It
be
is a
lightning?
1-mana spell though. It's white.
Swords to Plowshares.
Yep. Other than Soul Ring, it is the most printings at 75.
Oh, okay. So was that? I was gonna say that or
It
Path
is.
to Exile, but Access.
It is a really old card that has always been very good.
It's a staple,
Yeah.
so yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's in all the
It's
precons.
one of the ones I heard the most of.
It's in all the precons that have white. I'm pretty sure.
It's
Like
in a
it's
lot of
auto
them.
include.
I don't think
If
it's
the
in
precon
all
has
of
white,
them.
I mean,
For
they
sure.
retrained it for fucking Final Fantasy. They like
Oh,
gave
yeah.
it a new card art and put it in the sets.
Well, because it's uniquely very good in Commander because, well, people don't treat it like it's good because people are allergic to running removal, but it's just good to, like, Commanders do so many busted things that it's good to just have a card that just says, no.
get out
Like,
of here.
the best equivalent would be if there was, like, a quick play Karma Cut spell card. That's essentially what it is. That made your opponent gain 1,000 life points.
He will play it.
Would they play it in Modern Yu-Gi-Oh? Yeah, probably.
Basically a quick play Soul Taker.
No, it's banished, so
Fair. Better than that. Yeah. Quick play Karaka,
yeah. Honestly, it's better than banishes in Yu-Gi-Oh because I'm pretty sure Yu-Gi-Oh interacts more with the banish zone than Magic does.
Yeah, banishment has just become like another place you can put cards. The only thing that's like permanent exiling is banish face down, and that's like, okay, you can like look at these cards to know what's banished face down, but you can't interact with them in any way.
Like in Magic, I believe there are only 3 cards that interact with the banish zone. Ever.
Anyway,
It's just that,
we'll get more Magic trivia next time. I need to end the stream. I need to go get a snack
Sorry.
and stuff. It's fine. No, Dal, you're back. Listen, we're in it. But we've been going for almost 4 hours, so we're gonna call it in. We're gonna wrap it in. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next time. And I like the best of the worst type thing. I'm gonna make you pick an archetype you guys never picked before for
just off the
the
cuff.
monthly poll. So
That's great.
I'll see you guys next time. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tune in tomorrow for more Final Fantasy 14.
Good night, everybody.